Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto become the 4th Sanin part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Akira Sarutobi stood on the balcony of the Hokage's office, a balcony he thought he would never have to stand on again after he passed on the title of Hokage to Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime Hokage. Now, hours after the battle against the Kyuubi no Kitsune, the nine-tailed fox demon, Sarutobi had been forced to pick up the mantle of Hokage once more, as his successor was now dead. His last act as Hokage had been to seal the nine-tailed demon lord away. Sarutobi looked over his shoulder into his office where the baby that had been used for the sealing slept in its basket. "Oh Minato, why did you leave me with this? I'm too old for this." Standing before the desk of the Hokage was his former students, the legendary three, the Sanin. "We're sorry we're late, sensei," Jiraiya said sadly. His apprentice, the 4th Hokage, had died and he hadn't been here to help. The Toad Sanin was a wreck and only duty was keeping him there at this moment, his tears hidden from the world. "We came as fast as we could," Tsunade said. Her being here was something that had surprised Sarutobi. After the death of her brother Nawaki and her lover Dan, the 3rd Hokage had thought she would never return to the Leaf Village again. Orochimaru said nothing, his serpentine eyes were looking at the baby in the cradle. "Minato used his own son," he finally said. "Yes," Sarutobi said as he sat behind the desk, his bones aching with the thoughts of what lay ahead of him now. Tsunade drifted to the cradle, a look in her eyes that her former sensei had never seen from her before. Naruto cried out and she reached in soothing him. "Sure. All is well, little one," the slug Sanin said. "Where is your apprentice Shizen?" the third asked. Tsunade looked up. "She went to the hospital to help out while we were here," her eyes turning once more to the baby before her. She noticed the whisker marks and her hand moved aside the blanket. Jiraiya let out a whistle, startling her, as he peered over her shoulder. "Minato did a hell of a job on that seal." "Yes. He used the Shikafujin," Sarutobi said, watching as the Sanin gathered around the baby. He watched them, he'd never seen them act like this before. "The Yondaime used his life to power the seal," Orochimaru said, looking back at his former teacher. He quirked an eyebrow. "What will this mean for the boy as he gets older?" Sarutobi was about to light his pipe, but a glare from Tsunade stopped him. He sighed and put it down. "Minato designed the seal to siphon off and cleanse the Kyuubi's chakra over time. By the time Naruto reaches his 18th birthday, the Kyuubi should be fully integrated and no more." Sarutobi watched as the blonde began to fuss and Tsunade picked him up and cradled him. She slowly rocked him, and he calmed. He watched as Jiraiya looked at the boy. "And Kushina died in childbirth?" he asked finally. "Yes," Sarutobi said. "He has not relatives elsewhere?" Orochimaru asked, his eyes drawn to the babe in his teammate's arms. "No. Whirlpool had been destroyed. Kushina had no one left," Sarutobi said sadly. He watched as the three Sanin exchanged looks and wondered what that was about. "What has the council decided?" Orochimaru asked after several minutes of silence. Sarutobi sighed again. He was doing that a lot this night. "They are divided on the issue of Naruto." "Why?" Tsunade asked. "About what?" "Minato would want his son taken care of," Jiraiya said. "I'm surprised Rin and Kakashi aren't here demanding to take him in," the Toad Sage said. They all caught the wince from their former sensei. "What?" Jiraiya asked. Rin and Kakashi had a long argument about the boy. Rin was willing and wanted to honor Minato's final request that Naruto be seen as a hero. "And Hatake?" Tsunade asked, sensing her former teacher's reluctance to speak. "Kakashi Hatake wanted to kill Naruto. He sees him as the Kyuubi and the thing that killed his sensei." Sarutobi closed his eyes and remembered hours ago when the Kyuubi was newly dead and he'd called Minato's surviving student before him. Kakashi wanted to kill the boy. He'd charged up his Chidori and would have killed the baby in its cradle had Rin not kicked him aside. Sarutobi looked at the wall where the scorch mark was. The three Sanin saw his glance and saw the scorch mark. All three of them scowled. "And the council sensei?" Orochimaru asked, getting the discussion back on track. Most of the clan heads actually want to honor the 4th's dying wish." "As they should," Jiraiya said with a nod of his head. "Yes. But the civilian members and the head of the Uchiha clan sides with them. Sarutobi didn't mention his former teammates were of the same mind, along with Danzo. Again the three Sannin scowled at the stupidity being shown. Tsunade was comforting Naruto. She got a bottle from the nearby supplies the Hokage had gathered and prepared it with one hand, the whole time humming a tune to Naruto who was in her arms. The two male Sannin shared a look before turning back to the Hokage. What will be done with the boy? Orochimaru asked. Sarutobi sighed. Since the first choice for his adoption won't or can't, I have little choice but to put Naruto in the orphanage under his mother's maiden name. Absolutely not. All three men turned to see Tsunade cradling the boy as he was eating from the bottle hungrily. That's just begging for some of those idiots to try and kill him. He needs to be protected. If IWA learns that Minato had a son. You worry about outside threats, Sensei, but you're blind to the knives in the leaf. Sarutobi always tried to see the best in his villagers, but in the past several hours he'd seen the worst, and he was disappointed. He never thought he would be, but the council and the actions of Kakashi here in this office. He'd heard the shouts from civilians on the streets when he'd retrieved Naruto from next to his father after the battle. It saddened him deeply. I'm not talking about not using his mother's name, Sensei, Tsunade said. But she looked at the babe in her arms. Her eyes that held anger and hurt when she'd walked in here now held a tenderness that surprised her former sensei. I wish to adopt Naruto, she said finally. But Tsunade, your travels? Sarutobi said. I will take him with me. A moving target is harder to focus on. But alone, Sarutobi said. I'll have Shizen, Tsunade said. And me, Orochimaru said, surprising Sarutobi. And me as well, Jiraiya said. Sarutobi looked at his former student in surprise. Do you three know what you're doing? We'll learn as we go, Jiraiya said with his grin. Tsuhaime here isn't going to give in, Sensei. Besides, Orochimaru spoke up. With three Sannin raising him and protecting him, someone would have to have a death wish to try anything. Tsunade looked at the boy in her arms. Naruto of the Sannin, she said softly, and Sarutobi felt something run up his spine at that proclamation. He watched his students looking at the babe, and he knew they had their minds set. Somehow during the time they entered the office, they already felt a bond to the child. Sarutobi wouldn't say it out loud, but he did as well. Minato's legacy. The Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune, the world's littlest Sannin. You indeed will be great, Naruto. Shizen was surprised when her friend and teacher showed up with the baby in her arms. She was shocked when Tsunade told her that they would be joined by Orochimaru and Jiraiya as well. I need you to gather things we'll need to little Naruto here, Tsunade told her apprentice. The fools think he's the Kyuubi and not a baby. How horrible, Shizen said. She looked at the baby and her eyes softened. He's beautiful. Tsunade smiled, her own gaze on the baby that was sleeping in her arms. You know, I was angry being summoned back to Konoha, but the moment I laid eyes on Naruto here something in me switched. Her eyes looked up to meet the brown eyes of Shizen. I want him raised with love and care. Her eyes went to the sleeping blonde. Officially, Naruto has been adopted by all three Sannin, she said, sitting down and looking at the babe still. Naruto will have two fathers and one mother. She looked at Shizen. And an aunt? Shizen smiled and nodded. I'll get what we all need. Where can I find you? Here. I don't want to risk him on the streets too much. Orochimaru was called to the council. His brother-in-law was killed in the assault. Oh no, not Tansama, Shizen said. Yes. Jiraiya will meet us at the gate. If I know the pervert, he's either at the memorial stone or visiting Minato's grave. Tsunade sighed. Until he becomes Chunin, Naruto-kun can't know about his mother or father. I'll tell him a bit about them when they're older, but I'll explain it's for his protection that he doesn't know until he can defend himself. Chunin? Lady Tsunade, does that mean we'll be coming back to Konoha? Shizen asked. Sadly. I would rather not put Naruto-kun near any of the idiots here, but Sensei got the three of us to agree to it before he allowed us to sign the adoption scroll. Shizen saw the adoption mark on the boy's shoulder as Tsunade adjusted the blanket around him. It bore the mark of all three Sannin. Blinking, she shook herself and went to get everything they would need on the road. Behind her the strongest Kunoichi sat and rocked the blonde baby in her arms, a soft smile on her face, a look of love and devotion in her eyes. Tsunade and Shizen were standing at the gates, and the slug Sanin was scowling at the lateness of her fellow Sannin. Where are they? They know we need to leave under cover of darkness. Sorry, Haim. Jiraiya appeared next to them. Tsunade was about to yell, but she saw the look in his eyes. Jiraiya? Minato's grave is unmarked and hidden, he said. Kushina was listed as Uzumaki and buried with the others in the tomb. He looked sadly at his blonde teammate. Even in death, they are forced to be apart. It's not fair. Tsunade knew that her fellow Sanin was a die-hard romantic. He covered it with his being a pervert, but she remembered Minato's wedding, and Jiraiya sobbing like crazy. Where's Oro-team? Jiraiya asked. Here. The three turned to see Orochimaru walking towards them, a 4-year-old girl at his side. Orochi? Tsunade asked. This is my sister's daughter Anko Mitarashi. The three adults looked at the little girl. Her parents were killed tonight, he said softly. They knew Orochimaru loved his sister Yumi, and even got along with his brother-in-law. Tsunade growled. This village continues to take. Lady Tsunade, Shizen said, looking at the child and the babe. The slug Sanin sighed and nodded. Welcome, little Anko. Hello, the child said, looking at the ground. Jiraiya chuckled. Well, ain't this the odd family? Orochimaru said nothing, and the others knew he was still in shock at hearing about his sister's death. Come on. We can get several miles between us and Konoha, Tsunade said. Orochimaru nodded and scooped up Anko. We can travel faster, little one, if I carry you for now. We'll start training you in a few years, he said. She nodded from her uncle's arms. She was still in shock hearing her parents had died because the Kyuubi stepped on them during the battle. She didn't understand everything that the old people in the circle room had talked about, but she remembered her uncle and he promised to take care of her. She knew she would be okay. Her mother always told her to trust her uncle. As they were leaping through the trees, Anko finally noticed the baby in the blonde woman's arms, and remembered the white-haired man calling them family. Does that make him my baby brother? Anko thought. The leaping from tree to tree soon lulled her to sleep, the adults keeping silent as they put Konoha behind them. From his balcony on the Hokage Tower, Akira Sarutobi felt the chakra signatures of his 3 most promising students moving further away. It would be many years before he saw any of them again, or heard anything about the Sanin. The Sanin, masters of the battlefield, legends amongst the ninja communities, powerful as Kages. Nothing they couldn't handle. Oh my god! Jiraiya said, staggering back from the table. Orochimaru was across the room as if he'd teleported, a sleeved arm covering his lower face. How could something so small make something so foul? The snake Sanin asked, his eyes watering. Tsunade, eyes crossed and nose scrunched, looked at Shizen. Well, what are you waiting for? Get the wet wipes and powder, stat. Shizen was frozen at the bottom of the stairs. She'd gone to get the bag from their room, the small roadside inn was empty save for them and the owner who was in the kitchen. It had been simple. Naruto needed to be changed. What lay beneath the diaper had even the legendary 3 backing away in terror. Sweet Kami, what the hell did you feed him, Tsuhaime? Jiraiya asked. The smell was beginning to waver towards him, and he was backing up. The Toad Sage would later swear it was a noxious cloud that Shizen would later make into a new assault jutsu. Tsunade, seeing her apprentice frozen in place, growled and grabbed the items from her and proceeded to change Naruto's diaper. Granted, she swore the thing should be used to break an enemy siege, but she cleaned the boy up, and after securing the new diaper she kissed the gurgling baby's belly and got a laugh. Who's my little stink bomb? Yes you are. Yes you are. Jiraiya and Orochimaru watched their teammate talk to the baby and they shared a look. Tsunade's bravest of the brave for changing that weapon of mass destruction, and insane for talking to a baby. Little Anko the following morning found out that standing in front of a baby boy while changing his diaper without covering his manliness ended up asking to be peed on. Her shriek of indignation woke up Orochimaru and Jiraiya, who entered the room, Rasengan in Jiraiya's hand and Kusanagi in Orochimaru's. The male Sanin were blinking sleep from their eyes and looking for the threat. Tsunade was rolling on the floor laughing and little Anko standing there with pee running down her face, a total look of revulsion on her face that only someone who'd been violated like that can have. Shizen smiled and hid the camera away as she snuggled back under her blankets. Oh, little Naruto, you are going to have this family wrapped around your finger, and I'll have the family album to prove it. The first 2 years seemed to pass quickly as Jiraiya and Orochimaru learned how to change diapers, feed Naruto with a bottle, and that he was a baby and couldn't mold chakra yet to begin the lessons both men thought he should learn. Little Anko meanwhile learned how to read and write, and was starting to learn basic taijutsu from her uncle Orochi. Mama Tsunade made sure the children ate properly, and that her male teammates weren't getting into too much trouble. Shizen filled albums with photo evidence of Naruto's first time crawling, which set the Sanin into a panic when the baby was seen crawling towards a stranger at an inn. Sadly, a Tsunade-packed punch, a hail of Saban needles from Shizen, a low-level Rasengan, enema version, and Orochimaru's hidden shadow snake hand, left the poor man a wreck, which Anko laughed at and asked that Uncle Orochi do it again. Naruto's first words were pervert, mama, shitsi. Oro team and Anko no all were recorded by Shizen in the baby journal she'd bought for her little nephew that would be filled with all his first moments. Pervert. Naruto mocked as he looked at Jiraiya, his chubby little finger pointing at the white-haired Sanin who looked shocked. As did the others, but Tsunade's cheer in picking up the little blonde and kissing him for his first word. Suheim, don't encourage him, Jiraiya said as Naruto laughed and kept saying pervert. When he got more motor functions he would add the T, but for a first word, Tsunade couldn't have been prouder. When he called Tsunade mama, brought a tear to the blonde Sanin's eyes and she hugged her little one and kissed his face all over. Jiraiya, you noticed the change in Arheim? Orochimaru asked as they watched the slug Sanin with the baby. Jiraiya nodded. Not something I thought I'd ever see from her again after Nawaki and Dan. The pair watched as Tsunade sang softly to their little one. Jiraiya looked at his friend. When did we get so soft? What do you mean we dope? You've always been soft between the ears, Orochimaru said with a grin. Up yours, Orochi team. Uim. Naruto mocked and both looked over the fire in surprise to see Naruto pointing at Orochimaru with his little finger. Jiraiya laughed. That's right, Naruto. Orochi team. Naruto would later name Shizen Shitsi despite the brunette's attempts to get him to change, he wouldn't. Anko no was mainly due to how often the Sanin would rush off to rescue the adventurous girl and their cries of Anko no. To the point baby Naruto took that to mean it was her name. Brat, Anko said, but the others saw that her little brother had her wrapped around his cherub finger despite their rough start of him peeing on her at the beginning. The Sanin and their family kept moving, never staying in one place more than a month at most. Jiraiya's first novel of Ika Ika Paradise was a hit around Naruto's 3rd birthday, allowing the Sanin to take the odd jobs they wanted and not what they had to in order to make ends meet. Tsunade would gamble, but with Anko and Naruto, she never bet much and mostly did it out of habit, and she continued to live up to her nickname her bastard teammates gave her when she was a teenager. The legendary sucker. Her gambling was mostly out of fun as she held Naruto in her lap and allowed him to push the buttons on the slot machines, which somehow the 3-year-old always managed to give her winnings. Anko, now 8 to Naruto's 3, was getting more training from her uncle Orochi as well as kunoichi lessons from Shizen. She's a girl and she will need to know all this. You can't make her into an ultimate ninja. She'd threatened Orochimaru and Jiraiya with a frying pan in one hand and a butcher knife in the other when she caught them trying to teach her advanced techniques she was no way ready for. The first time she tried a fire-style attack Orochimaru had shown her, she'd passed out, and the sight of a panicking Sanin in a small-town hospital would forever be etched in the minds of the doctors and nurses as Orochimaru hovered over his niece's bed, fear in his eyes as he prayed to Kami to bring her out of it all right. After Anko had awakened, Orochimaru concentrated on blunted shuriken and her taijutsu, swearing he would wait till she was 11 for academy age before he worked with the ninjutsus. Shizen approved of mild genjutsus, kawarimi and the bunshin that academy student learned. She also approved of the leaf-balancing chakra exercise after getting a pair of brown eyes watering and a small girl pouting at her. Life with the Sanin was rather normal for a family on the move. They took some low-ranked jobs in towns they stayed in, then move on. Things like that went on until Naruto's 5th birthday. Anko was 10 when the peaceful nomadic life of the Sanin would change. It was a cool October morning. 5-year-old Naruto was stretching outside the tent he shared with his Kasan. Ero-2-san's not up yet. The 5-year-old noticed. Since his 4th birthday, Father Jiraiya had started him on simple exercises. They will help you later on, Naruto. Your body needs to be in shape if you ever want to learn the skills your mother, I or Orochi team have. Sit-ups, push-ups, jogging, and when the weather and location allowed, swimming. And Shitsi insisted I learn how to at least dog paddle. Naruto loved the water. His mom had a hard time getting him out of it once he got in. Hey Runt. Naruto turned to see his sister coming out of her and their aunt's shared tent. Like him, she was dressed for their daily morning workout. No arrow pop? Anko asked, looking around. Naruto shook his head. Anko frowned and went to the tent where her uncle Orochi and Jiraiya stayed. She rapped on the tent pole. What is it? Orochimaru's voice came out. It's Anko. Is Arrow Pop in there? She asked. Orochimaru's head popped out the flap. He had half face of shaving cream with his hair tied back in a topknot. No, he isn't, Orochimaru said, his gaze taking in the camp. Stepping out in his pants and a towel over his shoulder, he wiped his face. Naruto, go wake your mother. Anko, get Shizen up, the snake Sanin said. What's wrong, uncle? Anko asked. Jiraiya may be a pervert, and lazy at times, but he would never leave the camp, especially with the two of you expecting him, Orochimaru said, grabbing a shirt from his tent and grabbing his weapons pouch and sword. The Sanin never left the children unsupervised for training, and they never left the camp unprotected like it was now. Orochi? Tsunade asked, coming out of her tent with her dressing gown as she tied the sash. The dobe's missing, Orochimaru said. I'm going to look for him. I didn't want to leave the camp without someone here for the children. Tsunade nodded. If he's off peeping somewhere, I am going to show him my newest detriment to perverts everywhere. Orochimaru nearly smiled. I would agree, but Jiraiya is never irresponsible when it comes to the children. If we were both out here he might be, but when he's supposed to be training them, he's actually a responsible adult, and when in Kami's name did that happen? The snake Sanin thought as he slipped from their simple camp by the river, his eyes looking for any sign of Jiraiya's passing, or someone that didn't belong there. Orochimaru was 100 yards away from the camp when the net trap scooped him up. He felt weak and saw it was designed to sap chakra. Oh no, Tsuhime Protect Darkness claimed him. Tsunade glared at the path that had been left unguarded out of their campsite. She smiled proudly as she remembered the children setting the traps that even Jiraiya and his toads had been unable to find. My little Naruchan is becoming a first-rate trap maker, and he's not even 6. Tsunade thought proudly. And Anko is going to knock Konoha's socks off whenever we return. She saw Anko as a daughter and the young girl, while blood related to Orochimaru was loved by all three Sanin as much as Naruto. We never favor one over the other, and they are protective of each other as siblings. She thought, remembering the last trading town they'd been in, and Anko had been bullied by some of the 16-year-old girls when she had entered a store looking for kunai and some chemical compounds to make her smoke bombs. Little Naruto had been at the door with Shizen and heard the girl mocking his Nei-san. Flashback. What, you think you're going to be some kind of ninja? Don't you have to be part of a ninja village? One of the 17-year-old girls snarked. And look at those clothes. She dresses like a boy, but then, she is rather flat-chested. You leave my sister alone, you trolls, Naruto roared. He knew Anko was self-conscious about her body. She's only 10, but being around Kasan and Aunt Shizen, the little blonde thought as he tossed the tag he'd smuggled out Jiraiya Tusan's bag at the girls. One of them, seeing the sizzling tag, screamed and they scattered. Naruto smiled and looked at his sister, who was glaring at him. I could have handled that myself, brat. Shizen was the only one other than the shop owner to witness the two siblings arguing, either one paying any attention to the active exploding note. Tsunade had been entering a bar when the explosion happened. Naru-chan. Anko. She was gone. The dust cloud was her only passing as she made it across town to see a surprised Shizen sitting on the ground holding a still squabbling pair of children. Her apprentice told her of what happened, and Tsunade sighed before going to pay the store owner for damages. End flashback. Now she had the pair working on homework with Shizen, while her eyes kept watch for her absent teammates. What is keeping them? She thought. I don't like this. We're too exposed, she muttered. Hey Orochi team, you got caught too, Jiraiya said from his own cage. His hands were bound along with his fingers. Orochimaru glared as his head was killing him. Pervert, not so loud. They haven't been here since dropping your PLS off, Jiraiya said. It's not them I care about. My skull feels like it did that night the three of us went out after Dan's funeral. He saw Jiraiya's look and the smile forming. Pervert, focus. Whatever you say, team. I was just remembering Tsunade throwing us both out in our underwear just as that group of missionaries were walking past the hotel. Orochimaru groaned, and that didn't help his aching head. Why in Kami's name were you ever given the ability of speech? You're like one of Sarutobi-sensei's trained monkeys. Jiraiya scowled. No, I take that back, Orochimaru said, and Jiraiya started to smile, thinking his teammate was done with the insults. I need to apologize to the Monkey King for insulting his subject by comparing them to you. Hey! Orochimaru took in his surroundings. His hands were bound like Jiraiya's, and he found he couldn't bring his arms close enough to his face to try and bite the bindings. Fools don't know who they have apparently, or they would have gagged me, Orochimaru thought. Hey team, were Tsuhaime and the kids alright? Jiraiya asked. When I last saw them, they were fine dope. How did they catch you? Orochimaru asked. Jiraiya sighed. I had some time before Naruto would have been up, and I decided to go upstream and look for a way to cross with the kids safely. Orochimaru nodded. The Sanin went out of their way to protect the kids, even if they could have summoned a toad, slug or snake to cross. They felt the learning to forage was a better experience for the children to pick up until they learned proper techniques to walk on water or climb cliffs with chakra. Well, I thought I'd found a safe spot when I was pulled under into the mud and swarmed. I woke up here. Orochimaru explained his own capture. Who are they? He wondered out loud. Not sure. They aren't wearing any kind of identification and all are wearing full masks and armor when I have gotten them. Nothing to identify with any village, Jiraiya said. Orochimaru might have teased his friend and teammate by saying he was dope, but Jiraiya was great at attention and detail. He plays the fool to the hilt, and everyone always overlooked him. If I hadn't seen him away from Sara-sensei, I never would have known. Flashback. Orochimaru had been upset over not getting a difficult A-ranked ninjutsu right under Sarutobi's watchful eyes and had stormed off. He'd walked the village rooftops and sulked. It was then at an abandoned training ground near the south wall that he'd found Jiraiya. The man looked a mess. Orochimaru was about to comment from his tree when he watched as Jiraiya went through the same seals he'd been shown and the jutsu exploded. Damn, again too much again. Sigh, just once I wish sensei would spend time with me on something like this. Orochimaru watched his teammate, the one he'd called dope and dead last since their time in the academy, as Jiraiya had come to Konoha from a small farming village to the south near the border, while Orochimaru's father was on the council, and he was a prodigy. How is this possible? The genin thought watching his teammate. He saw that while Jiraiya had never really gotten the proper attention, he worked harder. He's figured out. Orochimaru watched him until he passed out from chakra exhaustion, and then watched over him all night as Jiraiya slept. Orochimaru learned that while Jiraiya might not have come from a clan or gotten jutsus easily, once he got them, he could reinvent them and alter them, and he'd done that with the mud jutsu that their sensei had only shown him, and Jiraiya had witnessed Orochimaru spending the day trying to master. That one moment had changed his opinion of Jiraiya. He'd still verbally sparred, but there was respect there now, and they both learned to enjoy it. End flashback. Team. Sorry Dobe, lost in thought. About what? How to look more feminine than Tsuhaime? Jiraiya asked with a giggle. No Arabaka. He sighed. Can you fit your hands through the bars? Maybe, hold on. Tsunade jerked her head when the first trap went off. The smoke tags. Shizen. Her apprentice moved, getting both Anko and Naruto into the tent. Tsunade was in motion and her fist connected with the first figure that had rushed through the smoke into the camp. She spun, sensing another one, and her foot sent the second one flying. However, it cost her as she felt a Saban needle hit her in a pressure point, and her muscles went slack and she slumped to the ground, unable to move, or even speak. No, the children. Shizen. She felt a tag put to her head. Sleep, Sanin. No. No. Naruchan. Darkness took her as the sleep tag put her out. Hurry up, Orochi team, Jiraiya said as he watched the tongue of his friend holding a pick and working the lock. It's not as easy as you think, Orochimaru said around his elongated tongue. He managed to get the pick he'd hidden in his belt itself, and was now trying to pick Jiraiya's lock since he could get at the toad Sanin's because it was a better angle than his own bound hands. Yuck, I really don't want to know what just touched my hand. Fuck you, Hiriha. Click. Oh yeah. Jiraiya slid out of the cuffs and brought his hands up and worked the bindings around his hands and fingers. Orochimaru retracted his tongue and spit the pick into his lap. After cracking his jaw back into shape, spitting out a foul taste and rolling his tongue, he looked at Jiraiya. Hurry up, Dobe. I've seen Inuzuka pups who can do better 5 minutes after being born. Hold your girdle, Jiraiya said and smiled once his hands were free. We're almost out of this. Yes, but while you're patting your fat ass on the back, who knows what they are going to try to do to Tsunade and the children. Jiraiya's efforts doubled at that, and he spat out a hunk of leather binding. They touch the kids and there won't be anything left of them. Agreed. Jiraiya's bindings came loose and he tore apart the ones around his ankles and then looked at his cage. Screw it. Being quiet gets me nowhere. He formed his hand. Take notes, team, this is one of the best attacks Minato ever made. The swirling chakra sphere formed and he reared back. Raisin Gan! Sadly, the cage never stood a chance as Jiraiya went straight through and hit Orochimaru's cage as well. The smoke cleared, but Jiraiya was already cutting the bindings. Once they were off, the two Sanin were on their feet. Pounding feet could be heard. We don't have time. Orochimaru put an arm out to stop him. My turn. The door opened and the black-covered ninja walked right into Orochimaru's attack. Acid cloud. He spat the noxious green cloud, and as it hit and passed there wasn't anything but melting piles of bone. Why didn't you use that before? Jiraiya asked as they ran out into the obviously deserted camp. It's a wide-range attack, Orochimaru said, then smirked. Of course, if you want I can send you to the Shinigami early. Jiraiya snorted. In your dreams, team. You really want to know what I dream about at a time like this? Jiraiya shuddered as they figured out which way they needed to go, and were rushing along the river, trying to get upstream in time. The explosion shook the ground a mile away from camp and both Sanin froze as they felt a wave of killing intent. It's not possible, Orochimaru said as he stumbled, kept his footing, then returned to an outright run. The seal should be fine, it's Minato's best work, I should know, I taught him everything I knew, and he surpassed me. Jiraiya said as they continued to run, trees and the river becoming a blur as the Sanin felt the oppressive killing intent coming from where they knew the camp was. Both had the same thought as they pushed their bodies harder. Please be okay. Please. KSN. Naruto watched as the strangers with black outfits and silver devil masks entered the camp and took out his Kasen. Naruto, Anko, stay here. Shizen ordered, and they watched as she pulled her sleeve up revealing the Saman launchers. Anko loved the weapon their aunt made. The figures turned towards them and advanced, still not making a sound. Stay back, Shizen warned. The attackers kept coming, one of them pulling a curved sword. Shizen wasted not time as she sent a hail of poison-covered needles flying at the attackers. The one with the weird sword swatted them aside. Shizen was right behind it, and her scalpels tearing into the person's armor, before she flipped backwards to avoid the reverse swing of the curved sword. Anko and Naruto both stood back, the kunai in their hands. We need to help. Little Naruto said, his blue eyes wide as they went to the still form of their mother. Anko slapped a hand on his shoulder. And Shizen said, we need to stay here. Blue eyes looked up at her in disbelief. Both children turned hearing Shizen scream and watched her fall. And Shitsi. Naruto yelled, and again Anko's hand kept him in place. Don't, she said, her hand tightening on the kunai in her other hand. The strange Nin approached again. Naruto felt fear, not for himself, but for his mother and aunt. Anko snarled and lunged as the masked Nin got within range. A black-gloved hand caught her wrist, and she dangled in the air, her legs flailing about as she tried to hit the man that hurt her adopted mother and aunt. Let me go! Let me go so I can kill you! She struggled to break free, managing to pull herself up and sink her teeth into the gloved hand that held her. Ack! The man snarled and backhanded her hard, sending her several feet away where she lay not moving. Nesan! Naruto screamed. He rushed to his sister's side and saw her unresponsive. He cried as he heard the man chuckle. No, Kyubi, has being a human weakened you so? The voice was deep, inhuman sounding. I am Naruto, not the dumb fox, Naruto said. As soon as he was old enough to understand words, his mother had sat him down and with Jiraiya and Orochimaru explained to him the night the Kyubi had been sealed. They said he was the jailer, not the prisoner. And if you want him, you can have him. The masked man chuckled again. And why is that? Because my dad was a seal master, and if you try and remove the fox, it will not only kill me, but the fox will die as well. Impossible, the masked man said as he motioned the others behind him to hold steady. Your father was a fool. No one can kill a demon lord. Yeah? Well, no one could seal one or stop one on a rampage either, and my real dad did that. He's lying, my lord, Anin said. The silver-masked figure slipped the curved sword away and approached Naruto. Naruto swung and kicked as the man picked him up by the back of his shirt and had him dangling. The man reached out and Naruto smacked the hand away. He got slapped hard. Don't make this more difficult, boy. He ripped Naruto's shirt. Naruto watched as the man's hand was engulfed in red chakra and placed it over his belly. The seal appeared. Crude. Naruto used a word he heard his mother say once. Fuck you, TME. The masked man laughed. "Milord, we lost contact with the base," Anin reported. It seems the Sanin live up to their reputation," the masked man said. Naruto, while the man was distracted, pulled out his kunai and rammed it into the man's wrist. Naruto fell to the ground as the strange man clutched his wounded arm to him. "Kill the women, bag the boy," he said, stepping back. "Kill." Naruto felt a white-hot rage overcome him at the thought of his mother, sister, and aunt being hurt. One of the ninja wearing his katana at his side reached for him, and an explosion of power. Naruto was in motion, red chakra engulfing him as he snatched the sword and in a single motion cut the ninja in half. "What?" the man said, watching as one of his men fell to the boy. "Kyubi?" he inquired and saw the boy's eyes were pulsing with red energy. He moves like a seasoned swordsman. But who is in control?" Naruto shimmered and appeared before a nin that was about to stab Tsunade. The nin looked shocked as Naruto speared him on the stolen katana up from the groin. The masked leader grabbed Anko and held a dagger to her neck. "Hold it, boy," he said, watched a third of his men fall, leaving himself and one other. The red vortex of power around the boy kept flaring, but the boy stopped moving. "Who are you?" "Naruto," came the deep voice. I don't think so," the masked man said. He felt two powerful chakra signatures coming closer. "Blast, I don't have time for this. I'm letting the girl go, and me and my servant will leave you for now." "Who are you?" Naruto asked. "An old friend of the Kyubi's. If you talk to the fox, tell him Nada says hello." The masked man shoved Anko towards Naruto. He took a moment to see if the girl would be harmed and watched as the chakra around the boy vanished, and he dropped the katana and caught the girl, falling under her weight, taking them both to the ground. "Let's go," Nada's ordered, and they vanished in black wisps of smoke just as Jiraiya and Orochimaru reached the camp. "Shit!" Jiraiya said as he and Orochimaru saw the nin vanish. They saw Tsunade, Shizen and Anko, but no Naruto. "Naruto!" Jiraiya called. "There," Orochimaru said, noticing movement under Anko. The snake Sanin was at his niece's side and rolled her off Naruto, who looked dazed, but unharmed. "Naruto?" Jiraiya asked, dropping to his knees. "I'm okay," Naruto said. "Aunt Shitsi was hurt," she screamed, and "Stay here with Orochi and Anko, I'll check on Shizen and Tsunade," Jiraiya said and rushed to the women's side. Naruto sat up and looked at Orochimaru. "Is Anko-ne-chan alright?" Orochimaru nodded. "She just got knocked out," he said, tracing a hand over the bruised cheek of his niece. "Who did this?" He called him Nada's. He said he was a friend of the fox. Orochimaru put a hand on Naruto's shoulder. "Are you okay?" the snake Sanin asked. Naruto nodded. "Uncle?" he said, hesitating. "Yes?" Orochimaru took the role of uncle, and the children called Jiraiya father, or as Anko and Naruto really called him, Aeropop. The fox. Naruto looked at him, his big eyes shining. "Something's wrong," he said, his hand going to his stomach. "What do you mean, Naruklin?" he asked the young blonde. "When Nada's when he ordered his men to kill Anko-ne-chan, Ka-san and Aunt Shitsi." Naruto lowered his chin to his chest and was talking so low that even Orochimaru's hearing couldn't make it out. Reaching out a hand, he raised the boy's head up. "Now, what was that?" "Your mother told you never to be afraid to tell us anything, Naruklin," he said, giving him a soft smile to encourage the boy. "He said I was the Kyubi, and when I felt mad it wasn't my own anger, I was too afraid." Orochimaru pulled Naruto into a hug. The badass snake Sanin hugged the little blonde boy that had become family to him as much as his niece in his lap. "Can't breath." Both sprang apart to see Anko awake. "Hey, little serpent," Orochimaru said. "You got tagged pretty good." Jiraiya checked on Shizen, and while she was wounded it wasn't bad. He saw it was a shallow cut. The sleep tag on the back of her neck he ripped off, and she opened her eyes right away. "Naruto! Anko!" she said, sitting up with a wince, her hand going to the slice across her belly. "Both are fine, if not a little roughed up," Jiraiya assured her. "Heal yourself and go check. I'll get Tsuhaime." The Toad Sage had been relieved that Shizen was alright. He got to Tsunade and saw a Saban needle in her neck, and he panicked when he pulled the tag off her, and she didn't move. Her eyes stared lifelessly ahead. "Shizen!" he yelled, and the apprentice was there. I pulled the tag off, but. He was panicking. Jiraiya? Orochimaru said with the children. Stay back. Jiraiya called out. Keep the kids back. MOM. Naruto yelled, and only Orochimaru picking him up kept the blonde from running to his mother's side. Oh sweet Kami, no, not like this. Jiraiya muttered as Shizen ran a diagnostic. She's alive, she said after several heart-stopping minutes. Here it is, she muttered, pulling a second Saban out from a place in her spine. Tsunade's gasp of air was drowned out by Jiraiya's whoop of joy as he pulled her into a bone-cracking hug as he babbled, "You're alive," over and over again. The two Sanin were tackled by a blonde missile and soon joined by a purple-haired one as Anko joined Naruto in hugging Tsunade. Jiraiya was silent, as it could have been he was enjoying the hug that Tsunade was alive, but to those watching it was due to his face being buried in Tsunade's large chest. KSN! Naruto watched as the strangers with black outfits and silver devil masks entered the camp and took out his Kasan. Naruto, Anko, stay here. Shizen ordered, and they watched as she pulled her sleeve up, revealing the Saban launchers. Anko loved the weapon their aunt made. The figures turned towards them and advanced, still not making a sound. Stay back, Shizen warned. The attackers kept coming, one of them pulling a curved sword. Shizen wasted not time as she sent a hail of poison-covered needles flying at the attackers. The one with the weird sword swatted them aside. Shizen was right behind it, and her scalpels tearing into the person's armor, before she flipped backwards to avoid the reverse swing of the curved sword. Anko and Naruto both stood back, the kunai in their hands. We need to help. Little Naruto said, his blue eyes wide as they went to the still form of their mother. Anko slapped a hand on his shoulder. And Shizen said, we need to stay here. Blue Eyes looked up at her in disbelief. Both children turned hearing Shizen scream and watched her fall. And Shitsi! Naruto yelled, and again Anko's hand kept him in place. Don't, she said, her hand tightening on the kunai in her other hand. The strange Nin approached again. Naruto felt fear, not for himself, but for his mother and aunt. Anko snarled and lunged as the masked Nin got within range. A black-gloved hand caught her wrist, and she dangled in the air, her legs flailing about as she tried to hit the man that hurt her adopted mother and aunt. Let me go! Let me go so I can kill you! She struggled to break free, managing to pull herself up and sink her teeth into the gloved hand that held her. Ack! The man snarled and backhanded her hard, sending her several feet away where she lay not moving. Nesan! Naruto screamed. He rushed to his sister's side and saw her unresponsive. He cried as he heard the man chuckle. No, Kyubi, has being a human weakened you so? The voice was deep, inhuman sounding. I am Naruto, not the dumb fox, Naruto said. As soon as he was old enough to understand words, his mother had sat him down and with Jiraiya and Orochimaru explained to him the night the Kyubi had been sealed. They said he was the jailer, not the prisoner. And if you want him, you can have him. The masked man chuckled again. And why is that? Because my dad was a seal master, and if you try and remove the fox, it will not only kill me, but the fox will die as well. Impossible, the masked man said as he motioned the others behind him to hold steady. Your father was a fool. No one can kill a demon lord. Yeah? Well, no one could seal one or stop one on a rampage either, and my real dad did that. He's lying, my lord, Anin said. The silver-masked figure slipped the curved sword away and approached Naruto. Naruto swung and kicked as the man picked him up by the back of his shirt and had him dangling. The man reached out and Naruto smacked the hand away. He got slapped hard. Don't make this more difficult, boy. He ripped Naruto's shirt. Naruto watched as the man's hand was engulfed in red chakra and placed it over his belly. The seal appeared. Crude. Naruto used a word he heard his mother say once. Fuck you, TME. The masked man laughed. My lord, we lost contact with the base, Anin reported. It seems the Sanin live up to their reputation, the masked man said. Naruto, while the man was distracted, pulled out his kunai and rammed it into the man's wrist. Naruto fell to the ground as the strange man clutched his wounded arm to him. Kill the women, bag the boy, he said, stepping back. Kill. Naruto felt a white-hot rage overcome him at the thought of his mother, sister, and aunt being hurt. One of the ninja wearing his katana at his side reached for him, and an explosion of power. Naruto was in motion, red chakra engulfing him as he snatched the sword and in a single motion cut the ninja in half. "What?" the man said, watching as one of his men fell to the boy. "Kyuubi?" he inquired and saw the boy's eyes were pulsing with red energy. He moves like a seasoned swordsman. But who is in control?" Naruto shimmered and appeared before a nin that was about to stab Tsunade. The nin looked shocked as Naruto speared him on the stolen katana up from the groin. The masked leader grabbed Anko and held a dagger to her neck. "Hold it, boy," he said, watched a third of his men fall, leaving himself and one other. The red vortex of power around the boy kept flaring, but the boy stopped moving. "Who are you?" "Naruto," came the deep voice. I don't think so," the masked man said. He felt two powerful chakra signatures coming closer. "Blast, I don't have time for this. I'm letting the girl go, and me and my servant will leave you for now." "Who are you?" Naruto asked. "An old friend of the Kyuubi's. If you talk to the fox, tell him Nada says hello." The masked man shoved Anko towards Naruto. He took a moment to see if the girl would be harmed and watched as the chakra around the boy vanished, and he dropped the katana and caught the girl, falling under her weight, taking them both to the ground. "Let's go," Nada's ordered, and they vanished in black wisps of smoke just as Jiraiya and Orochimaru reached the camp. "Shit!" Jiraiya said as he and Orochimaru saw the nin vanish. They saw Tsunade, Shizen and Anko, but no Naruto. "Naruto!" Jiraiya called. "There," Orochimaru said, noticing movement under Anko. The snake Sanin was at his niece's side and rolled her off Naruto, who looked dazed, but unharmed. "Naruto?" Jiraiya asked, dropping to his knees. "I'm okay," Naruto said. "And Shitsu was hurt," she screamed, and "Stay here with Orochi and Anko, I'll check on Shizen and Tsunade," Jiraiya said and rushed to the women's side. Naruto sat up and looked at Orochimaru. "Is Anko-ne-chan alright?" Orochimaru nodded. "She just got knocked out," he said, tracing a hand over the bruised cheek of his niece. "Who did this?" He called him Nada's. He said he was a friend of the fox. Orochimaru put a hand on Naruto's shoulder. "Are you okay?" the snake Sanin asked. Naruto nodded. "Uncle?" he said, hesitating. "Yes?" Orochimaru took the role of uncle, and the children called Jiraiya father, or as Anko and Naruto really called him, Aeropop. The fox. Naruto looked at him, his big eyes shining. "Something's wrong," he said, his hand going to his stomach. "What do you mean, Naruto?" he asked the young blonde. "And Nada's when he ordered his men to kill Anko-ne-chan, Ka-san and Aunt Shitsu." Naruto lowered his chin to his chest and was talking so low that even Orochimaru's hearing couldn't make it out. Reaching out a hand, he raised the boy's head up. "Now, what was that? Your mother told you never to be afraid to tell us anything, Naruto," he said, giving him a soft smile to encourage the boy. "He said I was the Kyuubi, and when I felt mad it wasn't my own anger, I was too afraid." Orochimaru pulled Naruto into a hug. The badass snake Sanin hugged the little blonde boy that had become family to him as much as his niece in his lap. Can't breath. Both sprang apart to see Anko awake. "Hey, little serpent," Orochimaru said. "You got tagged pretty good." Jiraiya checked on Shizen, and while she was wounded it wasn't bad. He saw it was a shallow cut. The sleep tag on the back of her neck he ripped off, and she opened her eyes right away. "Naruto! Anko!" she said, sitting up with a wince, her hand going to the slice across her belly. "Both are fine, if not a little roughed up," Jiraiya assured her. "Heal yourself and go check. I'll get Tsuhime." The Toad Sage had been relieved that Shizen was alright. He got to Tsunade and saw a Saban needle in her neck, and he panicked when he pulled the tag off her, and she didn't move. Her eyes stared lifelessly ahead. "Shizen!" he yelled, and the apprentice was there. "I pulled the tag off, but..." He was panicking. "Jiraiya?" Orochimaru said with the children. "Stay back," Jiraiya called out. "Keep the kids back." "MOM!" Naruto yelled, and only Orochimaru picking him up kept the blonde from running to his mother's side. "Oh sweet Kami, no, not like this," Jiraiya muttered as Shizen ran a diagnostic. "She's alive," she said after several heart-stopping minutes. "Here it is." she muttered, pulling a second saban out from a place in her spine. Tsunade's gasp of air was drowned out by Jiraiya's whoop of joy as he pulled her into a bone-cracking hug as he babbled, "You're alive," over and over again. The two Sanin were tackled by a blonde missile and soon joined by a purple-haired one as Anko joined Naruto in hugging Tsunade. Jiraiya was silent, as it could have been he was enjoying the hug that Tsunade was alive, but to those watching it was due to his face being buried in Tsunade's large chest. Sarutobi's palms strike connected, and he wished that the day wouldn't have been like this. He made a decision, and he would live with it for the rest of his life. The root ANBU collapsed as the professor entered the battle on the side of his students. When one got close to the children, the third Hokage's killing intent stopped the battle cold as his kick sent the idiot out the window. "Unbu!" he roared, and a dozen ANBU appeared. "Seize all root members, arrest Councilman Danzo, along with Hamura and Kohara here. I want all members of the council in chamber in half an hour. Those that resist will be considered brought up on treason and executed." Sarutobi looked at his three students, his eyes softened seeing Tsunade on her knees in front of Naruto. Checking for any wounds, finding none, she pulled him into a bone-crushing hug. "KSN! The blonde said as Anko next to him was chuckling until Orochimaru did the exact same thing. "I'm too old for this," Anko roared, but Sarutobi noted that she wasn't putting up a struggle. His gaze went to Jiraiya, who looked at the Tsunade, and Orochimaru, who nodded, and he turned his attention back to the floor where Hamura was under his foot. "They checked the children and will do anything to protect them first and foremost. Now, you old fossil, you threatened our children. You and the old farts like you have a grudge against a child that has never done you wrong. His father sealed the nine-tail into him to save this village, but I can tell you right now Minato would regret his sacrifice seeing how you bastards act." Both Sarutobi and the downed council members' eyes widened as Jiraiya spoke openly about the nine-tail and the boy's parentage. Sarutobi looked to see the boy's reaction, but saw none. "They've told him. They told him what happened that night, who his parents were, but—" "Ero-san, what did Uncle Orochi tell you about playing with stupid people?" Naruto asked from Tsunade's arms. "He calls them Mom, Dad, and Uncle," Sarutobi thought, watching things unfold. Jiraiya smiles at the boy. "Not to play around with people dumber than myself, as they might get lucky." Orochimaru snorted, "Dog, there aren't people dumber than you." "Up yours, Orochi team," Jiraiya said, putting more pressure on the elder's chest. "I'm trying to think of one reason not to take a Rasengan to you and put you in your place 6 feet under." Sarutobi coughed. All three Sanin looked at him. "I would prefer that you don't kill them unnecessarily. I need to find out how far this power play goes." Jiraiya snorted. "The damn council." Tsunade stood, the blonde boy in her arms. "We're leaving. Shizen?" "I'm okay, Lady Tsunade. I'm sorry Danzo got away." Tsunade waved it off. "He's a cockroach. The man can be at ground zero of the QB rampage and only get a scratch. It's not your fault." Orochimaru looked at Sarutobi. "We shall be leaving Konoha, and from this day forth, we shall not be allied with it." Sarutobi watched as all three Sanin removed their leaf hitate and placed them on the desk. Shizen never had been a ninja of Konoha, and she followed the Sanin from the office. Sarutobi winced. He'd read the doctored reports that Danzo and his root had made. They claimed that they'd found experiments in Orochimaru's labs under the Sanin's home. Sarutobi had laughed, and told them that the Sanin haven't been in Konoha for some time. He then had a beaky search, and mysteriously several wealthy people fled Konoha, the Yakushi clan being amongst them. Sarutobi should never have allowed the council to gain the amount of power he had, and now if he ever wanted the Sanin to return, he would have to clean it all up. Everything over the last several years. "I hate this job," Sarutobi as he watched the legendary three walk from his office, their strange tight-knit little family with them. They never looked back. Tsunade held Naruto as they passed the market town, never once slowing down. She was pissed beyond reason that the old bastards would try that. "Ka-san?" Naruto said softly, drawing her gaze enough to know that she was listening. "Are we ever going back to Konoha?" he asked. "No," she said. "We'll take up residence in that little village we set up in Rice. Your uncle will be Kage." A snort from Jiraiya earned him a slap on the back of the head from Orochimaru, who had Anko on his back. "Stow it, Dobe. Unless you want to be Hokage?" Jiraiya's eyes widened. "Ah, hell no. I hate the sheer thought of all that paperwork." Shizen was quiet. "But what will we call the village?" "The Hidden Sound," Orochimaru said. "We've found several nomadic ninja and samurai, along with villagers who want something better. Naruto looked at Orochimaru, who continued as they raced further away from Konoha. Many people do not like many of the rules and laws that the ruling families in many villages pass to support themselves. We set up this new village so that no law favors anyone. The Hokage of the Sound will be the one and only law. There will be no council. Ninja will be trained, no favoritism like there has been in Konoha and several of the other villages we passed through over the years. Naruto was thinking. It was Anko who spoke. Who's going to teach? She asked. While Tsunade and Shizen set up the hospital, and I run the Kage's office, Arabaka there will be helping with the academy. Both children smiled at the look on Jiraiya's face. Me? I can't teach. Only until we have more stable ninja force, Tsunade said. Many of the ninja we've talked to that are missing Nin are those that were betrayed and fled or were disillusioned with the system. I'm sure that we'll find a suitable teacher amongst them. Jiraiya snorted. Or freaks. What's he mean by that, Kasan? Naruto asked. Tsunade sighed. He means people that are as stranger than him. Naruto's eyes got wide. Is that possible? That brought a laugh to the group as they continued to flee. They passed through the Valley of the End and out of Fire Country, not to be seen there for many years to come. Konoha. No trace of them, Lord Hokage. Inumaste and B reported. What happened? Sarutobi sighed. Danzo and his conspirators made a power play, and it backfired. The Sanin have abandoned Konoha, with the daimyo's permission. He sighed. They along with Naruto have left our country, and are going to make a new hidden village. The Anbu's body language screamed disbelief. Danzo and his root tried to kill the adopted son of the Sanin. They took it like any parent would. Inu sighed. We've captured 47 members of Root. However, Danzo has yet to be found along with 4 members of his inner circle. Sarutobi cursed under his breath. Put the word out. Danzo and his Root are to be captured or killed on sight. Anything else? We lost sight of missing Nin Rin Inuzuka. The masked ninja said, his words hesitant as if it hurt to say them. Where? Near the border. The Chunins that saw her were knocked out, no injuries like every other encounter. Inu said. The Hokage sighed. Dismissed. This is not good. Danzo's out there with 4 of his best operatives. We've lost 3 Kage-level warriors due to the stupidity of the council, and Minato's 3rd student still hasn't been brought in. He pulled out his pipe and puffed on it. I am not looking forward to the Council of Kages in 3 weeks. Unknown mountain range. Report. A deep voice reported. Nada stepped from the shadows and went to a knee. I was unable to retrieve the Kyuubi, my master. It is bound to the mortal child by some seal on his belly. The figure made of shadow and smoke snarled. Then bring me the child. The barrier must fall. I am doing what I can, master, but I lost them after my encounter. It's like the boy knows how to mask his signature. Then find the other 8. I will send my emissary when you have the other 8. Should I confront the Kyuubi container again, master? Nadas asked. No. Leave it free for now. Allow it to grow in power. It will make taking over this realm so much more sweet. What of the elder gods? Nadas asked. They know nothing for now. We must be careful. The last thing we need is for one of them to become involved. The shadow form shifted. For now, leave the Kyuubi child free. When the time comes, we shall take him and crush him. By your command. Nadas said on his knees, his head down. I will send you soul collectors. You will use them to harvest the other 8. Do not fail me in this, Nadas. I won't fail you. The shadow figure vanished and Nadas was alone. I will do as you command, master, and Naruto Uzumaki. When the time comes, I shall relish tearing the Kyuubi from you and seeing your eyes as the life leaves your pathetic shell. Naruto's 13th birthday was a sight to behold. All of Odo had been invited to the top rookie's birthday bonanza. Odo Kage Orochimaru smiled at his nephew as village-wide games were taking place, from simple events that civilians could partake in, to challenges that even tested the greatest jonin amongst them. Odo Gekure had grown over the last several years. The village was hidden underground, beneath a small farming village that was nestled in a valley that was very difficult to get to unless you knew the safe paths. Enko was thriving in Oto as well. She made jonin right before her 18th birthday and told the family in no uncertain terms she was going to be Naruto's jonin instructor, and she'd hamstring any other candidates. Over the past couple years since leaving Konoha for the second time, there had been several attempts on Naruto's life by mercenaries hired by Danzo secretly, and the Sanin felt it was allowed by the council of Konoha behind their former teacher's back, so they blamed the village hidden in the leaves even more. Jiraiya's first year as a teacher had gone surprisingly smooth, after Tsunade had to beat him for hitting on the older students. The hospital was the best ever, and Shizen and Tsunade smiled as Orochimaru took their advice and made sure that the teams all had basic medical training and there was one qualified medic on each team. Naruto's ninja career had been difficult at first as he was not used to sharing the attention of his family, but after some discussing with his Ka-san and sister, he soon got over it. Meaning they caught him pouting and put him to the grindstone of Tsunade's training course that left Jiraiya a gelatin pool on the floor, and a spar with Enko, that while Naruto had done well, showed that his sister was a mite unstable. Unstable was Naruto's way of saying his sister was slightly insane. And who would blame her? It happened on Enko's 15th birthday. Flashback. Come on! Naruto shouted to his sister as they raced around the forest around Oto's farmlands. The pair had snuck out, and were playing a game of tag with kunai. The blonde youth smiled as they enjoyed this. It was not only a game for them, but a training exercise. One would chase the other with kunai and shuriken, till they got tagged, meaning one of the sharp instruments was lodged in them, then they would heal up, and then the other would begin the chase. They never did this around their mother or aunt. They knew the fireworks would make what arrow pop did seem tame. You suck, brat, Enko said, sending a volley, all missed, but left a nice outline in the tree where Naruto had been. I'll get you, Naruto-chan, Enko yelled. You couldn't catch a man if you had Ankeo-chan, Naruto yelled back and dove towards the ground, avoiding the shuriken barrage that would have engulfed his head. He laughed and looked over his shoulder to find his sister when he slammed into something, or more to the point, someone. He looked up. Hello? The silver-haired man who we'll call Elder Yakushi reached down and grabbed a handful of Naruto's shirt and hoisted him into the air. Well, look we have here. We escaped Konoha for our medical experiments, and we still managed to run into the damned demon brat. Auto, a boy Enko's age, said, adjusting his glasses. Shouldn't we let him go? Let him go? Kabuto, you are as weak-willed as your mother was, the man said. We kill him and present him to the mysterious Otokage, and will ensure our place in the Sound Village. Let my brother go, Enko yelled, descending from above. Her kick connected with the man's head, sending him flying, and he dropped Naruto. Enko! Run! Get Uncle and Yaro Pop, Naruto said as he tackled another elder. Enko was caught from behind. The boy Kabuto kicked one. Let them go. She's wearing a sound headband. He was backhanded for his efforts from his own father. He rolled. Naruto looked at him. Get help. The farm nearby. Tell Chichi-sama. Kabuto raced off. His mother's dying words had been for him not to end up like his father, but he'd been dragged along when they fled Konoha for his elders having been caught experimenting on civilians and ninja alike. He knew his father had killed her, and he wanted to be part of a new village. He wanted to feel safe. His legs pushed him on. Naruto was bound and gagged as the Yakushi men held Enko. Well, look at what we got here. Aren't you a sweet little thing? The elder said as he stroked her cheek. Enko spit at him, which caused him to backhand her. Spirited. What do you say, brothers? We have a taste of this young thing before we kill us a demon? The other two men chuckled and nodded their consent. Enko struggled and tried to fight them off as her clothes were ripped away from her. Orochimaru, Jiraiya and Tsunade with young Kabuto found a naked and gore-covered Enko sobbing while rocking an unconscious Naruto. The remains of the Yakushi men were littering the clearing. Naruto had not a drop or mark on him. By Enko's leg were a pair of blood-soaked kunai, and as they got closer they heard her humming. Her eyes weren't tear-filled as they thought, they were glazed over. End flashback. Naruto and Enko never spoke of it, but their bonds as siblings were tighter, and the other one was never far from the other. They both took to their training like crazy, surpassing every expectation. Back to Naruto's 13th birthday. Friends, Orochimaru said, quieting the gathered people, nearly everyone in the village, we are gathered here today to celebrate the 13th birthday of my nephew Naruto here. Cheers rang out as well as yells of happy birthday, Naruto-yen, causing the blonde to blush. Many of the girls his age in the academy thought the whisker marks were exotic, and his slender build had many of them chasing him. Not that they could get close with Enko on the lookout for cheap hussies as she called them, but Naruto did have several friends his age. Yes. Happy birthday indeed. Now as Otokage, I need to speak on some things, and I beg Naruto-kun's forgiveness for speaking about serious things on a day that should be filled with happiness. Blue eyes looked up into the serpent-like eyes and a fox-like grin told the Kage that it was fine. I want to thank our allies and friends from Suna for being here. Cheers went up and Gaara, who was next to Naruto, bowed his head. The pair had been friends for years and Gaara's father was always happy to unload his children upon Oto to the point where they were going to be staying permanently. Naruto put a hand on his friend's shoulder. Ever since Jiraiya fixed the redhead seal, he was able to sleep and manipulate the power of the one-tailed demon he possessed, much like Naruto was now able to do with the Kyuubi. I also wanted to inform you all that in the coming weeks we will be traveling to Konohagakure for the Chunin exams. A mixture of boos and cheers met this announcement. I know, but the daimyo has requested we show our skills. Therefore I've selected several teams. He put a hand on his nephew's shoulder. I am sure you all know that while in Konoha, I want the guards on their top form. Konoha is foolish to believe my nephew is the Kyuubi that he holds. Boos met this as Naruto bowed his head. Gaara put a hand on his friend's shoulder. They had a bond deeper than brotherhood as they understood one another in a way that no one else could. Team selections and placements will take place tomorrow, and we'll begin our journey. While I'm gone. Lord Orochimaru, a voice called out. You can't leave. Orochimaru smiled as several others protested, putting himself in danger. I thank you all for the concern, but I cannot allow our genin, nor my family to return to a place that means them harm without being able to protect them. While I am gone, I will leave Zabuza in command. The former swordsman of the mist had been found in Wave, near death after a confrontation with Konoha ninja. His ward, Haku, had been near death as well, and it had taken a lot of Tsunade's skill to pull them both through. After saving their lives, the two joined up with the Sanin and Oto. Zabuza swore a blood oath to protect the Sanin and their family, and do as they commanded to his dying breath. Haku, they found out, had been a year older than Naruto, posing as a boy and a hunter nin from Mist. Naruto looked around and found the pair, both nearby and protective even here in the hidden sound. Now, enough talk of serious matters. I do believe there is cake in presents, Orochimaru said with a smile as 6 ninja came out carrying a cake that was huge, and even then they were struggling with the multi-layered cake. Happy birthday, Neru, Orochimaru said, kneeling before his adopted nephew and hugging him. Thank you, uncle, Naruto said, not embarrassed like most kids his age would be at the affection shown before others. He loved it when his family hugged him. It made him feel safe, secure, and loved. Your mother, the Baka, and I have a special gift for you, Orochimaru said as the other 2 Sanin approached. You didn't have to, Naruto began, but Tsunade placed a finger to his lips. You always say that, brat. We wish we could have given you so much more over the years. You gave me everything I'd ever need, Ka-san, Naruto said, and was pulled into his mother's ample chest as she hugged him tightly. Gaki's the luckiest man on earth, Jiraiya muttered. Orochimaru snorted and agreed. He is a heartbreaker. The snake Sanin agreed. Both men chuckled, remembered the Kunoichi battle royal they'd spied several days back that involved several women of various ages. Enko had been there trying to beat it into their heads to stay away from her brother. Sadly arrayed against her were Tamari, formerly of Suna, who had liked the blonde since she first saw him during their original travels. Haku, who had taken a liking to the blonde who had checked on her during her time in the hospital after she'd be rescued, and he'd brought her flowers, food, and would talk with her about her dreams of being a medic nin. Then there was Kinagirl in Naruto's class and Taiya, who was Anko's age and one of Orochimaru's personal guard in the Sound 5. Jiraiya had watched the brawl from start to finish and told his teammates about how violent and possessive they all were. Anko had returned home an hour later limping and cursing about red-headed whores who bite, and stupid sand bitches that weren't good enough for her brother. She had ignored the adults who laughed as they saw her backside look like a pincushion, and they knew Haku and Kin were the cause, as some of the Senban had bells and some were covered with a thin frost. Shaking themselves, they saw Tsunade had finally released the boy enough to breath, as Shizen scolded her mentor for smothering Naruto-kun. As we were saying, Neru, Orochimaru said, looking the boy in the eye, we have a gift for you from the 3 of us. It's very special, and with the danger of the coming Chunin exams, we each would feel better knowing you have this. He snapped his fingers and Kabuto appeared with a scroll on a velvet pillow. The last Ikushi was loyal to Orochimaru and his family for taking him in after the fall of his last family. Naruto liked him, but didn't think he was worth his sister's attention, which resulted in several pranks that, while funny, had him dodging his sister's kunai collection, which now had climbed into 4 digits. Where the hell does she keep them? Many wondered, but Enko never told that her arrow pop had placed seals on her wrists where she stored them, and they would return to with but a thought. Happy birthday, Naruto-kun, Kabuto said with a smile. Thanks, Kabuto, and stay away from my sister. he added, causing the adults to smile and the silver-haired medic to blush. Anko bopped her brother on the back of his head. "Stay out of it, brat," she muttered. Orochimaru knew this could dissolve into a very messy and bloody game again, so he pulled the attention back. "The three of us have gotten you a very special contract, Naruto," Orochimaru said to the blonde, getting his attention. "As you know, your mother, the Baka, and I each hold a summoning contract. Your mother with the slugs, the pervert with the toads, and I with the snakes, which your sister has signed as well." Naruto looked at his sister and smiled. He knew she had wanted to do that since they were little and she'd gotten to ride on Manda, who had dropped his guise of wanting offerings when the two children had found a very sensitive spot that no matter what he did he could never itch even when he shed, and they had scratched it, making the giant serpent purr and stun the three Sanin at seeing the snake melt under their little hands. "This is your personal contract, Naruto. No one has signed it. It was made by the great sage Sanzo." Naruto looked up at this. He remembered the blonde monk who had passed through Oto with his three very strange friends. Naruto had like Son Goku, Naruto's outfit was based off his. "After studying your seal, he made you a contract with the foxes, not the kitsune like the Kyuubi, but with the foxes, which are different," Orochimaru said, seeing the boy's eyes widen at first. "So, you won't summon the Kyuubi? The foxes are like the toads and other summons you've met." Tsunade put a comforting hand on her adopted son's shoulder. "Sanzo was very careful after he saw your nightmare." Naruto looked down. A nightmare demon had slipped into Oto and had latched onto the blonde, feasting on him for days. Sanzo and his companions had arrived, and after dispelling the demon they had set up wards around the village and had stayed for a month after. Naruto was ashamed of his nightmares in which the Kyuubi had either broke free, killing everyone he loved or cared about, or the worst one was Naruto had been possessed by the Kyuubi and had done the killing, raping and pillaging himself. It had prompted the secondary seal from Jiraiya to ensure him a peaceful night after that, as Naruto had taken to becoming an insomniac, fearing that if he slept the Kyuubi would take over. It had been heartbreaking for the three Sanin, and they assured him it couldn't happen. "Thank you, Uncle Kasa and pervert," he said, hugging each. Jiraiya made his protest of being called a simple pervert, but a head bop from Tsunade shut him up quickly. "You remember the hand seals?" Tsunade asked her son, who nodded. He'd memorized them when he was younger, and was going to copy his mother's summoning, but they'd stopped him, saying he was too young and could seriously hurt or kill himself if he summoned a creature beyond his chakra ability, as it could drain him in one go and kill him. They didn't worry about him running out of chakra, but they thought he could damage his young coils if he did manage a summon at a young age. "Then let's go." The three Sanin led Naruto through the crowd, and once they were above and outside the farming village, with the rest of the guests following, they nodded. The three Sanin and Anko went through the signs and 4 puffs were made. Katsuya the slug, Gamabunta the toad, Manda the snake along with his mate Koda. Naruto looked at them and gulped. His hands were in motion, and he finished it. He slammed his palm to the ground, summoning jutsu. A huge puff of smoke appeared, just as big as the others. Naruto gulped as behind him the citizens and ninja of Otogekyo were stunned. The smoke cleared, and standing there with the other 3 boss summons was a beautiful female fox. The reddish-brown fur, white marks and black paws. "Beautiful," Naruto breathed. The summon looked down, and everyone would swear it smiled. "Why, thank you," the giant fox said. Naruto blushed. "I am Naruto Uzumaki. My first summoner." "Hello, young master," she said. Gamabunta snorted. Jiraiya spoke up. "Hey, Bunta, why don't you show me the respect she just showed the Gaki?" "Snort, because you're a pervert," Gamabunta said to his summoner, while Manda and Katsuyu chuckled. "Can I ask your name?" Naruto asked the giant fox. "Izumi. You may call me Izumi," the giant fox said, looking down fondly. "I know, uncle, the pervert and Ka-san have had to take tests to earn their contracts," Naruto began. "Your test was taken the day you were born, Naruto. You hold the Kyuubi, a demon fox, at bay. Your strength has been proven. When Monk Sanzo contacted the spirit realm and asked for us to be your summon, me and all my children agreed. You've proved to us the kindness of your heart, the strength of your will. You are the fox summoner," Izumi said, crouching down low so her face was close to Naruto. The teenager surprised everyone when he stepped forward and hugged the giant fox's muzzle. "Thank you, Izumi-sama. I will do my best to use you and your children with honor that you deserve." Demon foxes like the Kyuubi were different than summoned foxes. Oto saw that right away as Naruto and his summon bonded. Tsunade stood back with tears in her eyes. A handkerchief appeared and she saw Jiraiya with a smile. Argaki's something special. The Toad Sage said with a soft grin as he watched as the fox stood with Naruto on her head. The fox bounded off. Naruto's shout of joy was heard by all. Yeah, he is, Tsunade said, taking the piece of cloth and wipes her eyes. Orochimaru stood by them. We've each helped raise him. And when he's older, he looked at his fellow Sanin. I want him to be the next Otokage. The three watched as Naruto spent time bonding with his summon, their own standing by watching as well. Orochi, Tsunade said. The Otokage looked on as he watched Enko by Manda and smiled as he saw the big snake roll over and his niece scratch the Snake King, which purred like a kitten. What? He asked. What are we going to do about Konoha? Orochimaru sighed. I'm not sure. We have several options. None of them I like. Our main concern is get Naruto in and out of there safely along with everyone else. Means you to Orochi team, Jiraiya said. Ah, you care. Warms the cockles of my heart, Orochimaru said with a smirk. Cold heart, Jiraiya said, crossing his arms. Yeah, but warm hands, he said with a grin. Behave both of you, Tsunade said, her eyes watching her boy. Orochi. Yes, Haim? He said, giving her his full attention. The Sannin are returning. Put me in charge of a team. Scratch that. I want Naruto's team. Orochimaru pouted then. I was going to be in charge of that team. Actually, I was, Jiraiya said. The three Sannin exchanged a look. Poker? Orochimaru offered with a grin. Same stakes? Jiraiya offered. Ah, hell no, Tsunade said as her teammates laughed. Off to the side, Shizen and a few others watched them. What a strange family. Shizen looked at Kabuto. Yeah, but then it works. Now about the attention you've given my niece? Kabuto swallowed as Shizen pulled out several saban needles with her other arm over his shoulders. I think we need to have a small discussion on what you will and won't do with my precious niece Kabuto-chan, Shizen said, and Kabuto knew better than anyone to correct Shizen on the form of address she'd just given him. The Sound Five stood silent as their task was set. Their loyalty was unquestioned. The leader Kimimaro had sworn blood allegiance to Tsunade the day she cured him of his sickness. Nothing will happen to your son, milady. The only way that will happen is if I am dead and buried. Konoha. Sarutobi sighed as he looked at the acceptances from numerous villages. He came upon one with a musical note. My students. You are the new village that we've heard so much about. The ones who accepted the Kazekage's children as he feared them. The ones who rescued Wave Country from the manipulations of Crime Lord Gato after Konoha's own ninja failed in that task. Sarutobi sighed. I miss you all. He marked it down on the gate passes and sighed. The new council members that picked up the vacant seats better not mess this up. Kami, I pray they don't mess this up. Time had come for the Chunin exams in Konoha. The Otonin were walking in their squads. Naruto, under his mother's watchful eye, was teamed with Gaara and Kin. The three had worked hard over the last few weeks, becoming a solid team, each covering the other's weaknesses. Temari, Haku, and Ryu, another of Naruto's classmates, formed a team under Enko's command. His sister had demanded the two girls, saying so I can keep a better eye on them and them away from my little brother. That was before she heard Kin had been placed on Naruto's and Gaara's team, causing her to swear. Jiraiya led the third Oto team, which consisted of Kankuro, Kabuto, and Dosu, a man who never got a chance to try due to poor test skills as he was dyslexic, thus failing out all the time. Orochimaru with his personal guard were with them, along with Shizen, who was acting as his personal assistant. Kabuto was added as a genin to keep an eye on the teams better once they were in the field, and Kabuto and Dosu both agreed as they made Chunin the previous year. Temari had waited as she had wanted to team with Naruto, and Haku's medical training with Tsunade and Shizen had kept her from trying the year before as well. Doesn't seem fair, does it, Orochi team? Jiraiya said, walking next to his teammate. What doesn't? Orochimaru asked from beneath his straw hat. That we're only entering one true genin team, a second partial genin team, and a third team to protect them all. Do you trust Konoha to not try something? The Otokage asked. Jiraiya sighed. No, you're right. I doubt Sensei cleaned them all out. The last assassin led right back to the Konoha Council. Both men were not pleased with the assassination attempts on the blonde they considered their son/nephew. I still liked Tsuhaim's answer for dealing with them, Orochimaru said as they continued to walk, the gates of Konoha coming into sight. Jiraiya winced. Popping their head like a grape and mailing the remains to Konoha with postage due is kinda what am I saying, that is just like her. Both me smirked, then looked over their shoulders to see their teammate listening to the blonde boy next to her who was talking a mile a minute. I hear Iwa's been sniffing around, Jiraiya said. Orochimaru nodded. I warned them off. I also got a warning about a mutual annoyance called Nada's was seen in Kiri not too long ago. Both men growled. They did not forget the man who years past tried to take the boy. You think he'll be here as well? Jiraiya asked. None of my spies have been able to track him. Halt. The gate guards appeared before the Oto group. State your names and purpose for entering Konoha. I am the Otokage from the Hidden Sound Village with my genin teams and their instructors and my personal guard. We are here for the Chunin exams. He handed the guard the invitation scroll. Orochimaru, the guard said. Lady Tsunade, Master Jiraiya, you're back, the guard said with a grin. Welcome home. No, Orochimaru said. Konoha isn't our home. It is a place that tried to kill our child the last time we were here. Now this time if that happens outside the exam it will be seen as an act of war. Tell that to the council. The snake Sanin took the passes and handed them to Shizen. Where will we be staying? The Red Oak. Orochimaru and his team walked past. Sir, the Hokage would like to speak with you and your companions. He had word waiting at the gate should you show up. We'll see him after we've checked in, Orochimaru said, cutting off the Chunin. He scowled as they passed people who bowed. It was the tightening of Tsunade's knuckles that told him the stupid villagers noticed Naruto and were still holding on to their vile and idiotic grudge. At East Tsuheim, he said, slowing his pace so that the Sound Five surrounded him, Tsunade, Naruto, and his teammates. The first idiot that tries anything, Tsunade began. Will be dealt with by my personal guard, Orochimaru said. The Oto contingent reached the inn and checked in. They found a jonin wearing a mask with silver hair waiting for them. He had his headband covering his left eye. Hataki, Tsunade said with a growl. Hataki, Orochimaru said, putting a hand on Tsunade's shoulder after her initial growl of greeting. What do you want? Tsunade said rudely. Is this him? The silver-haired jonin asked, looking at Naruto. The three Sanin were on alert. They remembered what Sarutobi said 13 years ago about Kakashi's words and actions. None of your concern, Jiraiya said, putting a hand on Naruto's shoulders. The other Otonin tensed. Kakashi's lone eye scanned over Naruto. He looks so much like Minato-sensei, he said. He should, he's his son, a voice said from the side. Rin, Naruto said and rushed to greet her. Rin? Kakashi said, surprised to see her. She'd vanished several years after the Sanin had left. Of course she hadn't spoken to him since that night 13 years ago. Hello, Hataki? She said, then walked up and hugged Naruto. Look at you, Naruto. It's been 3 years since I passed through Oto. You've grown. I'm 13, Rin, he said, and she ruffled his hair. Got a girlfriend yet, Runt? She asked, putting an arm over his shoulder, ignoring Kakashi, who was looking at her in surprise and shock. No, and Ankone-chan keeps chasing them away, he said. How? Kakashi asked, looking at his former teammate. Where did you go? I thought you were killed on a mission. Trying to find out where she went. Rin stopped messing around with the blonde at her side and glared at him. As far as the people and ninja of Konoha know, I am dead. I died the day my teammate tried to kill our sensei's son. I died when my clan banished me when I couldn't meet their standards. She turned her back on her cycloptic former teammate. Sorry, I haven't been through Oto lately. I was gathering reports for the old pervert, Rin said. Which one? Naruto asked with a cheeky grin. I'm not a pervert, Jiraiya said, then grinned as he rounded on the blonde youth. I'm a super pervert. Tsunade's fist drove him to the ground where he lay groaning. Stifle it, she said and smiled at Rin. We do need to get caught up, she said, and the younger woman nodded. I'll see you soon. I owe you all for saving me. The three Sanin, Shizen, Naruto, and Anko knew what she meant. Flashback. I can't believe there are towns like this still around, Shizen said as they slipped down an alley. They were in a mining town near the southern border of Fire Country. The daimyos have tried, but they keep popping up. Between the mining, gambling, and prostitution, there are also slave rings and other unsavory people, Jiraiya said, looking around to make sure no one is near. Naruto, Anko, stay close, no wandering off this time. Tsunade said as she too gazed at the various alcoves and dark shadows. They were entering the center of the town where there was a large gathering. What's going on here? Shizen wondered. Not Sarah crap. Jiraiya said, putting a hand on Anko's and Naruto's shoulders and pulled them back. Slave auction. He hissed to the other Sanin. End flashback. They rescued me and 100 other people. I swore loyalty to them that day. Rin said, her eyes hardening as she looked at her former teammate. It was that mission the council sent me on, alone and underprepared. Renai Kakashi looked uncertain as to what to say. You're blocking the way, Hataki. We need to check in, Orochimaru said. What are you doing here? I came to cheer on my teams. I know the Kages usually don't arrive until the finals of the Chunin exams, but I am not letting Naruto or the others come here without me. Why? Kakashi asked in surprise. Simple, Hataki. We no longer trust Konoha. Now you can go and tell Sarutobi that the Otokage is here and will meet with him in an hour. Orochimaru turned and the others followed. 3 of Orochimaru's bodyguards stood watching the Konoha Nin. They all wore cloaks. Leave, Kimimaro said. Or we'll make you, Jirobo said, smacking his fist into his other hand. Sakan stood silent watching Kakashi, who finally nodded his head and vanished in a leaf shushin. Naruto sat on his bed and sighed. So that was my father's student. His voice was soft. Anko put a hand on her brother's shoulder. Tsunade-kasa and said we'd run into him. Naruto nodded. You going to be okay sharing with King-chan and Haku-chan? He asked. Anko growled. Better than their alternative. Which was? The blonde asked his sister. They wanted to share a room with you, Anko growled. Naruto smiled at his sister's protective nature. And you don't think I would like that? Anko bopped him on the head. You've been spending way too much time around Aeropop. She sat next to him. Hey, you be careful during the exam, alright? I don't want to lose my brother. Naruto put an arm around her shoulder. I'll be careful. I've got Gaara and Kinchan on my team. The siblings sat in silence. So, you think Aeropop's already peeping? Naruto asked. Anko snorted. Knowing him, he took Kankuro with him as a lookout. Temari knocked and entered. Hey. Hey, Temari-chan. Naruto said, ignoring his sister's scowl. Have either of you seen Gaara? She asked. Anko and Naruto shook their heads. Damn it. Want help finding him? Naruto asked, standing up. Please. You and your family are the only ones he listens to. The fan user grumped. He listens to you most of the time since his seal was fixed, Naruto said in defense of his friend. I know. Hell, he listens better than Kankuro, Temari said, grabbing a pair of fans that were 3 feet long and slipped them across her back. I'll let the others know we're going to look for him, Anko said. Wait outside. The 2 blondes nodded as the snake user slipped away. Thanks, Naruto. You and your family have done so much for us. Naruto waved it off. Uncle Orochi saw how your father treated you, and it was the best trade he ever made, getting rid of a couple of poor ninja for the 3 of you, who are not only skilled ninja, but because you were amongst my first friends. The pair waited outside the hotel and they saw several villagers looking at them, and when they saw Naruto, their scowls. They see me as the fox, Naruto said sadly. Like Suna saw Gaara as that overgrown sand rat, Temari muttered. Hey, Naruto, Temari said as they waited. What is it, Temari-chan? Where would you like to go out to eat tonight, just the 2 of us? The fan user asked. Naruto didn't get to reply as Anko joined them and grabbed her brother by his arm and dragged him down the street. Come on, Windy, we need to find Raccoon Boy, Anko said, not letting go her brother's arm and dragging him off. Up and down streets they walked when they were in a back alley when a young boy ran into Naruto. Hey, watch where you're going, the brown-haired boy said, looking up at Naruto. Watch where I'm going, Naruto said with a smirk. You ran into me. No, I didn't, the boy said. Naruto sighed, reached down, and picked the kid up by his collar and lifted him into the air just as several people came around the corner. One was a girl his age with pink hair. Then there were a boy and a girl this kid's age, and finally a guy wearing a pink shirt and black pants. Put him down, the pink-haired girl screeched. Just helping him up, Naruto said, putting the boy his feet. Yeah, that's right, you better apologize, the boy said. Konohamaru, the pink-haired girl, said. And why is that? Naruto asked. Because he's the Hokage's grandson, the boy in the pink shirt said. Grandson? Yeah, that's right, Konohamaru said, puffing up his chest, a snicker on his face. That changed as Naruto pulled him up again by his shirt and held him up at eye level. I don't care if you were the Hokage's grandmother. You ran into me, you little snot. Perhaps I should pound some manners into you, since it's obvious this village has yet to learn any. Naruto's hand was hit by a stone, but he didn't let go of the kid identified as Konohamaru. He looked up to see a pair of Sharingan eyes and a duck but hairstyled boy his age up in a branch. Let him go, or I'll make you. Naruto snorted. You can try, but my friend behind you would crush you before you managed to twitch. He saw the boy's confusion as he turned to see the darkened gaze of a redhead. Can't you stay out of trouble? The redhead asked. You know me, need to meet new people and make new enemies all at the same time, Naruto said to Gaara. They both were enjoying the look of shock on the raven-haired boy's face. We were looking for you. You really need to tell someone where you're going, especially since we're not at home, Naruto scolded the younger boy. Gaara didn't answer, but vanished in a sand shushin and reappeared next to Naruto. Naruto looked at the boy and rapped him on the forehead. Don't be so rude next time, squirt, Naruto said and put him back on his feet. Then with Gaara, Temari and Anko turned to go. Sasuke Uchiha leapt from the tree and landed in front of his teammates, and next to the stunned Konohamaru. Hey you blondie. What's your name? The Odo group stopped and looked back. Who, me? Temari asked. No, the other blonde. I don't swing that way, Naruto said. Besides, it's bad manners to demand things without first introducing yourself. Don't care, Naruto said, cutting him off. We have more important things to do than play with a bunch of rude Konoha genin and children. Naruto was turning when he saw his way blocked by Kakashi Hatake. Sensei! The pink-haired girl yelled. The lone eye was on Naruto. Being rude yourself, Naruto, Kakashi said. Anko hissed. I really don't think you have room to talk, Cyclops. And I know for a fact that his mother wants you nowhere near him. Kakashi ignored her and took a step towards Naruto. I wish to speak with you. The Odo contingent formed ranks around Naruto while Anko pulled out a pair of wicked-looking knives. Leave, she said. Kakashi looked at her, then at the knives, then over her head. I want to speak with Naruto, he said. Not happening, Anko said. Naruto heard from his mother and Rin about how Hatake thought he should be killed hours after his father sealed the Kyuubi inside him. I don't have anything to say to you, Jonin Hatake, Naruto said. He flared his chakra. It was a signal him and his family developed when he and Anko was young and they were faced with a threat beyond their skills. Naruto knew Anko was skilled, but Hatake had the Sharingan from his dead teammate, and they were in Konoha. Naruto flared his chakra in the set pattern, and saw Kakashi's eye focus on him. Calm down, I don't mean you any harm, he said. Sorry, don't believe you. You were willing to kill me a few hours after I was born. And the last time I was in Konoha I was threatened with death again, Naruto said. Gaara next to him looked at the Cyclops, and he popped the cork on his gourd. My friend has asked you to leave, he said low. Temari had pulled the fans from her back, but had yet to open them. Behind them they could hear the genin they met moving closer. Temari turned. Stay back, this doesn't concern you, she warned. That is our sensei. You fight him, you fight us, Sasuke said, and Temari saw his eyes. Crap. We have another Sharingan behind us, the one with the duck-ass-style hairdo. Gaara turned his body so he could see both the Jonin before them and the genin coming closer. Stay back, he said. Kakashi-sensei, are you okay? The pink-haired girl asked. Everything is fine, Sakura, Kakashi said as he took another step forward. Stay back, Hatake, you've been warned, Anko said. He ignored her and continued to approach. He was nearly upon them when Kimimaro appeared. You were asked to stay away from them, Naruto, especially Hatake, the leader of the Sound Five intoned. Kakashi was about to speak when Sasuke leapt towards the Odo genin. Sasuke, no! Too late, the last loyal Uchiha was caught in a fist made of sand. Gaara had turned to face the genin once Kimimaro had arrived. Konoha Anbu appeared seconds later. Let him go. A hawk-masked Anbu ordered. No, Gaara said. He attacked the heir of the Otokage, and the Jonin there was told to stay away, and ignored it. Kimimaro looked at the Konoha Anbu. So this is the famed Anbu my lord was talking about. I am not impressed. Kakashi looked at the group. Captain, stand down. This is all a misunderstanding. They have the Uchiha, the hawk said. Sasuke got too eager and attacked in a situation that he shouldn't have become involved in. I'm sure our Oto allies will release him, he said, looking at the red-headed boy. Naruto put a hand on Gaara's shoulder. Toss him. And that's what Gaara did. Sasuke landed several feet away. He rolled to a stop at Sakura's feet, who yelled about the treatment of her Sasuke-kun, and the Oto Nin were lucky that he allowed them to catch him. We're heading back to our hotel now, Anko said. I'm afraid you and the demon will be detained, the hawk said. On what grounds? Anko asked. Attacking a Konoha ninja and disturbing the peace. Naruto snorted. If I was to disturb the peace, you would know it. Naranizan, stow it, Anko hissed. I'm sorry you think this concerns any of you. But we are the ones being harassed. Be that as it may, the demon child is coming with us, Hawk said. I don't think so. The Anbu turned and froze, seeing Orochimaru and Tsunade standing there with the Hokage. Orochimaru looked at his former teacher. Nothing changes. He hasn't been here and yet they hate him. He looked at Tsunade, who walked past the Anbu, and stopped looking at her son. You just can't avoid getting in trouble, she said, ruffling his hair. Not my fault, Ka-san. Hatake is persistent in talking with me and won't take no for an answer. Tsunade glared at the Konoha Jonin. I told you to stay away from him, Hatake. He shrugged and looked at the boy. Kakashi, report to my office, Sarutobi ordered. Anbu, stand down now. He roared the last part when it looked like they were going to refuse. Orochimaru, Tsunade, I am sorry about this. We will remain for the exams, old man, Tsunade said. But I am going to make one thing perfectly clear, an attack on Naruto will result in war. And trust me when I say he's made several allies for Oto. Orochimaru nodded. Suna, Iwa, Kiri all have allied with Oto. Kimimaro, Tsunade said, getting the Oto Nin's attention. Thank you for being prompt in responding. He bowed his head. No need to thank me, Lady Tsunade. He then looked at Naruto and bowed to him. None shall harm him. Sarutobi looked at the Oto contingent. Suna, Oto, Kiri, Iwa, this has the potential to be a disaster, and the council is demanding that Orochimaru turn Naruto over to Konoha isn't helping matters. The morning of the Chunin exam came around and Kakashi Hatake had been chased off the hotel property several times. He refused to state what he wanted, but he wanted to speak with Naruto alone. Like that's going to happen, Anko said. The only other commotion had been Anko finding Kin and Haku snuggled up that morning with Naruto. She had ignored Gaara and his teddy bear glaring at her for yelling, and she managed to avoid the shower of Saban needles from the two girls before she got hold of them by their ears and dragged them out the whole time lecturing, stay away from my brother. Naruto was nervous as they approached the academy. His mother was behind his team with Kimimaro. Both refused to allow the teams to wander alone after the incident several days back. Tsunade's rant about the stupid council was heard when a messenger had shown up with a scroll demanding Oto hand over Naruto. Sadly, Naruto heard the messenger was going to be on a liquid diet for the coming month and might be able to sit down within 2 months. Relax, brat. Tsunade saw his nervous energy. Konoha never changes its exam. The first part will be psychological, the second will be a survival, and the third round is a single elimination tournament. Sounds stupid, Naruto muttered. You thinking of waiting another 6 months and take the exam in Iwa? Tsunade asked, and Naruto could hear the hope in his mother's voice. Nope. Already put it off so Gaara and I could team with Kinchan. Said girl blushed at her teammate's statement. You got your pipes? Tsunade asked. Yes, Mom. Don't take that tone with me, young man. You have your survival gear sealed in your scrolls? She asked the 3 genin as they walked. Ahead them was Anko's team and behind them was Jiraiya's. Yes, the 3 said. Gaara? You have your instrument? Tsunade asked. Yes, Lady Tsunade, he said, and she saw the scroll on his hip. Kin. I have my flute and the medical packs you prepared for us back at Otogekyo, Lady Tsunade, she said. You'd think you were taking this test, Suhaim, Jiraiya said, coming closer. I'm worried, she admitted, with the scroll from the council and Hataki's insistence at speaking with Naruto. It will be fine, Jiraiya said. Hey brat. What arrow pop? Naruto asked. Don't call me that, Jiraiya said and sighed. You have it right? Yeah, Naruto said. Good. Be careful in there, the Toad Sage said. He fell back to be near his team. Kabuto. He spoke lowly. Watch over them. I know Anko's got her team doing it as well, but with the Council of Fools making demands. You think they'll try something during the second part of the exam? The Glasses teen asked. Yes. Also, keep your eyes out for Kakashi Hatake. He's been stalking Naruto since we got here. His team has the Uchiha. Orders? Jiraiya handed the scroll to Kabuto. Either seal the Sharingan, or eliminate him. As you and the Otokage command, Lord Jiraiya, Kabuto said, pushing his glasses up. Kankuro and Dosa nodded, understanding their orders as well. You're not fooling anyone. Drop the genjutsu and get out of the way, they heard entering the building. Naruto shook his head. What a dumbass. What you say? The pink-haired girl turned around. I said your boyfriend is a dumbass. The genjutsu was set up to get rid of weaker teams. Sasuke turned to see the teenagers they saw a couple days ago. Fight me, he demanded. Naruto and his team ignored him and walked past. Sasuke, pissed at being ignored, reached out to grab Naruto when another hand grabbed his wrist and squeezed hard. You shall not touch Naruto-sama, a teen said. He was wearing white clothes and a black trench coat. He had a red headband keeping his spiky brown hair out of his eyes. Ryu, don't waste your time on the Konoha trash, Temari said. Save it for the second part of the exam. Ryu let Sasuke go with a snap, staggering the Uchiha back. The Konoha genin glared as the Oto teams moved up the stairs. Sasuke-kun? Sakura asked while their teammates stood there in shock. Above, a pair of eyes with bushy eyebrows looked at the Uchiha and made a decision. Naruto looked around the room. A lot of teams here. No one I know, he thought. He frowned, seeing 3 figures. Shadow Society? He thought, seeing the black and blue masked figure next to the orange and black figure with a third figure sporting a skull mask. Naruto? Kin was next to him. What's wrong? Scorpion and Sub-Zero are here, he said, gesturing. Who's the skull bearer? She asked. Not sure. But things got more dangerous, Naruto said. Pass the word. Avoid them at all costs. Kin nodded while Naruto watched the trio. It's been a couple of years, he thought. Flashback. Naruto and Anko were at a nearby fishing village, having slipped away from their family who were busy getting Otogakure set up and running. The 2 children had even managed to slip away from their guards. The simple reason was they were tired of being watched. Ever since the episode with Kabuto's family, they had been heavily watched. Are you sure we're fine here? Anko asked. She was still rather subdued and quieter since that day. She did listen to her little brother a lot, which many found strange, yet the 2 would always back the other around anyone. Yeah. It's not like we've gone to Suna. We're just down the valley and near the river, Naruto said. He was wearing an outfit that was similar to Jiraiya's, except it was blue, and he didn't have the horned forehead protector. Anko shook her head. We get grounded, it's your fault. Yeah? Come on. I want to see the ships that are using the river to get to the ocean. The river was deep enough that many ships traversed it to cut off the time it took to reach the ocean. I thought we were coming for that festival, Anko said. That's later, but there should be stalls up with free food, Naruto said. And how do you know all about this? Anko asked her younger brother. A classmate mentioned it. He was coming down tonight with his dad, Naruto said. And this friend's name? Anko asked. She'd learned right away that if Naruto didn't give a name, then it was either second-hand information, or it was someone he knew he wasn't supposed to be around. Doubt you know him, Naruto said. And that cinches it. It's someone Kasen forbade him from hanging around, Anko thought. And you trust this friend? Anko asked. Yeah, pretty much, Naruto said as they entered the village. Alright, does Mom trust this friend? Anko asked and saw the body wince. I guess. Naruto said. You know bro, you suck at lying. Anko said, getting him to stop and face her. So what? I'm sick of being stuck in one place. You remember when we were younger? We never stayed in one place this long. You know why we're setting up here. So what? Naruto said. I'm not scared of some masked idiot who thinks I'm the fucking fox. He turned and stomped away. Anko sighed and chased after him. It took her nearly 10 minutes to catch up to him, and when she did she froze. There standing next to her brother was a figure they hoped never to see again. Nadas. She whispered and pulled a kunai and leapt at the masked fighter. He didn't turn, but his hand caught her by the front of her shirt. Now little serpent. I am not here for this. Nadas looked at Naruto. You've grown, Naruto. Happens with time. Naruto fired back. His gaze went to the two ninja with him. My guards, Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Usually the most bitter of enemies, but under my command they are the most dedicated of soldiers. Good for you, Naruto said. Nadas smirked. They aren't of this world. But in time they will be. They will be reborn and they will do all I command. Naruto looked at the man who attacked him and his family all those years ago. I'm not going with you, the blonde stated. Nadas laughed. You're not. The man agreed, and it surprised the two youths. I am simply passing through at this time. You are safe from me at this time, Naruto. The man walked away. He said something to the two ninja, and Naruto and Anko watched as they attacked a man. Sub-Zero turned the man into an ice sculpture with a simple touch, and Scorpion, with a strange spear that shot from his hand, shattered the man. Flawless, Nadas said, and continued to lead the two ninja away. They boarded a strange boat with red sails and dragon motifs. I think we better go home now, Naruto muttered. End flashback. Naruto saw that it was them, younger than they'd been the last time, but the same white dead eyes. Naruto found his attention drawn to the genin from Konoha hearing Sasuke Kayuen. He watched a blonde leap onto the Uchiha's back while the Uchiha's pink-haired teammate yelled at her to get off. He noticed that the Uchiha looked a bit bruised. Idiot doesn't learn. He keeps it up, he's going to get himself and his team killed, Naruto thought as he slipped back with Kin and Gaara. Kin leaned in. I told the others. Kabuto's going to see if he can draw out some of the Konoha genin. Naruto shook his head. He didn't see what his sister saw in the medic nin. Naruto had been amazed with the amount of information in his nin cards. Kabuto said it had taken him a long time to learn how to use them. If we can, we need to tell Anko Nei-chan that Nadas's freaks are here. Not sure who the one in the skull mask is, but Scorpion and Sub-Zero are killers. Kin put a hand on his forearm. The Uchiha is staring at you as well. Sasuke strode up to him. Fight me, he demanded again. No, Naruto said and looked at Kin. So, Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries, do you think it's possible to pull off without strings? Don't ignore me. Go away, duck ass, Naruto said. We're not from Konoha, we'll smack you down for your attitude. Sasuke went to strike Naruto, but the blonde was faster than him and sent him crashing into the blackboard at the front of the room, silencing all chatter. Try that again, Uchiha, and I will do more than break a rib on you, Naruto said, lowering his leg and looking at Kin. So, the bridge on the second stanza. You can't do that to Sasuke Kayuen, the pink-haired banshee screamed and came at Naruto, but her other teammate stopped her and said something to her. Sakura, don't. You wouldn't stand a cha was as far as the nameless cannon fodder got before a Sakura punch sent him careening into a wall not far from her precious Sasuke-kun. Sakura turned back to go at Naruto, but found her way blocked by several females. Temari, Haku and Kin were in her way, each glaring at her. What do you want? Sakura demanded. Temari spoke for the trio. You think we'll let you harm Naruto-kun because of some blind obsession you have for that amos there? Think again, Pinky. Naruto might not hit a girl, but if you try and treat him like you just treated your teammate, then we've got issues, and trust me when I say I will beat the living shit out of you, and that will be before Haku and Kin can get to you. Sakura blinked and recognized the blonde from the other day. But he attacked Sasuke-kun, the pink-haired single-minded organism known as Fangirl whined. Kin growled. Your stupid boyfriend tried to attack Naruto-kun. I don't know how things work here in Konoha, and I don't give a flying fuck. I know in Odo that shit outside of training or battle isn't allowed, and he'd have been at best suspended from duty, and done some time in a cell. Haku spoke. Attacking the heir of the Otokage, however, Temari smirked, could lead to a death sentence if Orochimaru-sama is in a good mood. Kin snorted. That's if Lady Tsunade or Jiraiya-sama didn't get to the offending party first. Sakura blinked. Heir? Kin laughed. Yes. He is the child of the former Sanin of Konoha and the heir our Shodai Otokage. But that doesn't matter in Oto, little girl. You see, in Oto, we are all treated equally. Naruto-kun, despite being the child of our leaders, is treated the same as anyone else, and he asked for it that way. Temari snorted. The amount of times he's gotten in trouble with Enko-sensei is in the triple digits easily. Sakura was now looking at Haku, as if trying to place her. Haku meanwhile recognized the pink-haired girl from the disaster in Wave, but said nothing. There was a loud explosion at the front of the room and smoke billowed around. Shut the fuck up, you punks! A rough voice bellowed. When the smoke cleared, they saw a tall scar-faced man sporting a Konoha Hittite and a black trench coat. Behind him on either side was a squad of Chunin dressed up in Proctor's uniforms, including the two that Sasuke had unveiled earlier in his arrogance. The man, who appeared to be a special jonin of some kind, continued in a smoother tone of voice. I am the examiner of the first test of the Chunin selection exam, Ibiki Marino. Naruto looked at the test. What the hell? Ka-san was right, they really don't change their tests. Slowly over the next hour, Naruto wrote the answers in shorthand that Shizen and his mother taught him. Screw them. I am not giving away answers so others can cheat, he thought after flipping his paper over when he saw several of the Konoha nin using skills or bloodlines to cheat. His eyes saw that the girl next to him, another Konoha nin, had indigo hair and a pair of pale lavender eyes. He saw her looking at him out of the corner of his eye and smiled. Not another one. Enko's going to go spar, he thought. Naruto knew he was pretty good looking. His mother and aunt informed him of this. Not to mention the birds and the bees talk, shudder, with charts. Naruto knew they had given him the talk about sex because his Ka-san didn't trust Aeropop to do it, and Uncle Orochi turned the weirdest shade of red when he'd been asked to do it, and said, "Ask your mother," and rushed off. Naruto saw the girl was looking at him still and winked at her, which got a deep blush from her. Yep, Enko-ne-chan is going to go spar. Haku, Rin and Temari were scattered around the back end of the room, and all three scowled seeing the female Konoha genin eyeing their Naruto-kun. That bitch better step off. Were three of the same thoughts the three possessed. They also pictured various means of chasing the girl off. It was Haku who thought of the easiest way. I'll just let Enko-sensei know there is a Konoha tart sniffing around her little brother. With that in mind, Haku created an ice mirror in the palm of her hand and slipped a note through it before going back to work on the test Lady Tsunade had informed them about before coming to Konoha. Sasuke was fuming. That Otodobe has power, I want power, I need to kill him. I need it. He was pissed he couldn't seem to copy the blonde Otonin's moves. Even worse, he seemed to be washed out when he looked at him with his Sharingan. Sadly, Sasuke was unaware of the seal Jiraiya put on all the Otonin to counter this years ago as a way to keep Oto's secrets secret. I will learn your secrets, Dobe. No one denies an Uchiha. Under his skull mask, Nada smirked. Sub-Zero and Scorpion were reborn, severing the ties with their old world. He smiled seeing Naruto here, but he wasn't the objective. His eyes searched out and found the target of this mission. Sasuke Uchiha? You are wanted by my master. He looked at the test the proctor had handed out and finished it with a simple wave of his hand. The answers filled in and he turned it over. His eyes once more looking for the blonde. I may not be allowed to capture you for now, Naruto, but one day, your power will belong to my master, and I will be rewarded. During the hour there were many eliminations as people were caught cheating. Ibiki, however, remained silent. His eyes were on the blonde in the second row next to the Hyuga heiress. Sarutobi said to keep watch on him, and prevent anyone from attacking him. Ibiki was surprised to see him finish the test in the first 15 minutes. He also watched as the boy teased and flirted with the Hyuga heiress, getting her to turn redder than a tomato. What is the Hokage planning for you? He called out the 10-minute warning as several more teams were eliminated. Too many of them remain. Hopefully I can thin them out with the torture of the last question. Ibiki laughed, chilling many of the students and getting a few to quit, and one even wet himself. Life is good. Tsunade glared at Kakashi as they sat in the waiting room. Jiraiya and Anko were finding it hard to hold her back. Stay away from my son Hataki. I won't warn you again. The blonde Sanin snarled. I just wished to speak with him, the Konoha Jonin said calmly. The other Konoha Jonin were looking on, many in surprise. Surprised that the famed copycat ninja was without his usual orange book. I don't think so, Tsunade hissed. I remember the Hokage telling me of your actions all those years ago, Hataki. His father asked you to raise and protect him, but hours after he saved this village and died, you try and kill his son. You tried to kill him before the Hokage and your former teammate. You had your chance, Kakashi Hataki. I won't allow you another. As entertaining as this is, does anyone know about the first exam? A grass Jonin asked. It was Asuma Sarutobi who, after lighting his cigarette while ignoring the glares from others, answered. They'll be lucky if they pass. Why is that? Kurina Yuhi, a Jonin of Konoha, asked. Kakashi turned his gaze from Tsunade, looking at her before he answered. You're still rather new as a Jonin, so I'm not surprised you don't know. Know what? Kurina asked. It was Asuma who spoke again, exhaling a cloud of smoke. The head proctor for the first exam is the head of Konoha's interrogation unit, Ibiki Marino. Several Jonin winced hearing that name. Many looked at the Odo contingent as they all smiled. Anko jumped as something cold touched her hand. She saw a palm-sized ice mirror appear and a note slip into her hand. A second note already? She thought. The first had been a warning from Haku about Naruto warning them about Scorpion and Sub-Zero being in the exam. After reading the new note, she scowled and looked at the Konoha Jonin. Which one of you is the sensei of a female Hyuga? Naruto sighed out loud. He was bored. He saw particles of sand gather on his desk, and soon they formed words. Do you need help? Shake head yes or no. Naruto shook his head no. Do you want to play a game? Naruto smiled and nodded his head yes. He watched as the sand became the familiar tic-tac-toe board. With a smile, he lazily traced an X in the top left square. The sand shifted and formed an O in the center square. Naruto made another X in the bottom left corner. An O formed in the left center square, blocking him. He put an X in the center right box, blocking a win for Gaara. An O formed in the upper right box. Naruto put an X in the bottom right corner. Damn. Draw. Formed in the sand. Naruto smiled and shrugged. Another game? Before Naruto could reply, Ibiki spoke from the front of the room. All right, you snots. It's time for the 10th and final question. Now here are the rules. If you take this question and fail, then you will never rise above the rank of genin. What? Screams filled the room. Naruto saw a teen his age with a dog stand. You can't do that, the boy yelled. Shut up. Ibiki snarled and flashed his killing intent. My test, my rules. You can leave now if you want and take the test again when some other pansy gives you this test. His dark gaze swept the room. Decide now if you're going to take the test or not. Several quit, and their teammates were forced to leave with them. Naruto saw that the Uchiha's teammates looked terrified. Both looked ready to raise their hands and quit. Kurenai looked disturbed after talking with Anko, who had pulled her aside after finding out she was Hinata's sensei. The amount of questions, Kurenai shuddered and disgusted with herself about the amount of information she'd given to the Odo Jonin. So why are the three of you looking so assured? Asuma was asking. Jiraiya answered for the group. Ibiki might be a master of interrogation and intimidation, but our students have been through hell nearly all their lives, some of them literally. Anko snorted, retaking her seat. Tsunade's team won't even twitch. Hell, I bet Gaara and Naruto are either sleeping or playing a game. Like yours will be any worse? Tsunade said. Anko gave a shrug. As long as Nii-sen stands tall, Haku and Temari will drag Ryu over a river of fire to impress my little brother, even if that meant killing Ryu in the process. Jiraiya snorted. That poor boy got stuck with two girls that want to show Naruto that they are the best. He clapped his hands together and smiled. But then again, my own team has something to prove, and they know if they quit before the other two teams, they never hear the end of it. Who are Naruto's teammates? I think I recognize the redhead from somewhere. Kakashi asked. Kin is one of Naruto's classmates. She graduated with him and Ryu, or as their teachers called them, the Never Say Die Trio. Tsunade said. Gaara is the son of the Kazekage of Suna, but for political and personal reasons he and his siblings were traded to Oto and are now part of our village. Jiraiya said, a smirk on his face. The Odo Jonin weren't going to mention Ryu's, Kabuto's or Haku's past since all three were connected with Konoha in some way, none of them good. Kakashi looked at the clock on the wall. Looks like we'll know soon, the first exam should be nearly done. So Blondie, Ibiki said, standing right in front of Naruto. You gonna go crawling back to Odo? Naruto yawned loudly. You say something, Scarface? I was about to take a nap while you weeded out the wheat from the chaff. Ibiki smirked. I asked if you were ready to quit, or are you willing to bet your ninja career and stay a genin for life if you fail? Naruto snorted as another team walked out. Bring it on. My sister is scarier than you or this test when it's her time of the month. Besides, I'd like to see you enforce that genin thing outside of this village. Ibiki scowled as several victims, i.e. genin that looked ready to quit, didn't. Damn brat. It took him minutes to disrupt an hour's work, Ibiki thought. And besides, even if that was possible, and I do get stuck as a genin for the rest of my life, it doesn't matter. And why is that? Ibiki asked, curious to see what the blonde would do now. That just means I'll be the world's strongest genin that will be able to kick Akage's ass. So bring on your 10th question, because Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze won't back down no matter what, that's my way of the ninja. Never say die. Testify. Ryu and Kin yelled from their seats, and the Oto group chuckled at that. Naruto looked at Ibiki. Give me your best, I'll take it, chew it up and spit out the change. Crap, he's dispelled the fear effect. Anyone else want to save their ninja careers and quit now? Last chance? Ibiki looked around and sighed mentally while keeping his face blank. 42 remained 14 teams. He tallied it up. No one? He asked when no one moved. Well then, you all pass, he said, and smirked at the looks of disbelief as gasps of surprise and yelled, what about the 10th question? And the sighs of relief filled the room. The chunin around the room smiled. Ibiki pulled off his bandana and the room fell quiet as he began to speak. Enko twirled the pair of kunai by their rings as she looked at Kakashi. So One Eye, if Ibiki's the first exam, who's got the next phase? The gathered Jonin senseis looked at Kakashi. The copycat ninja sighed. Sadly, it's not a ninja. The Hokage felt that the second test would be more difficult and didn't want any show of favoritism, so he contracted an outside source. Well, spit it out. Who's in charge of the second exam? Enko demanded. Kakashi sighed. He's got many names, but the one he's given us at this time is Liu Yen. Jiraiya dropped his saucer, his eyes widened. Did you say Liu Yen? Yes, why? Kakashi asked, and many in the room looked at the Sanin as he paled. Jiraiya looked at Tsunade, who looked at him in concern. Liu Yang is the given name of Master Pure Yang, also known as Liu the Progenitor by some Taoists. He dresses as a scholar, and wears a sword strapped to his back that will dispel evil spirits. Why does that name sound familiar? Tsunade said. Liu Yen is Liu Tongpin, one of the 8 immortals/deities revered by Taoists. Kakashi's eyes widened. What one of the 8 is doing here is a cause for concern. Enko muttered something and both Sanin looked at her. What? She sighed. Before the exam started, I got a message from Haku. Nada's freaks are here as well. Sub-Zero and Scorpion with an unknown third. They're de-aged and sitting in on the exam. Who is Nada's? Kakashi asked, seeing the 2 Sanin look worried. A threat, Jiraiya muttered. Think we can grab the kids and hit the border before they realize it? Tsunade asked, concerned for her adoptive son's safety overriding all. No. Naruto won't run, Enko said. And the others will close ranks around him. Jiraiya nodded. The second stage of the Chunin exam just became more dangerous. The remaining teams looked at the scholar, who was drunk and standing at the front of the room looking at them with complete boredom. You couldn't have lost a few more at Ibiki-san? Liu Yen asked. Feel the room. The drunk looked at the group with bleary eyes. Bah. They'll be cut down to half or more by the time they reach the end of my exam. The man let out a belch and sighed. All right, report to pulled out a scrap of paper and tried to focus his eyes on it. Forest of Death, the nice Chunin here will escort you. And where will you be? A brave genin asked. You held up his gourd. Refill. With that he vanished in a burst of water, and the Chunin got up and started to herd the kids out. Ibiki sighed before collecting the tests. He got to the one where the blonde was sitting and read the note. Damn brat. I just might try to hire him someday. Ibiki went to inform the Hokage of the dangers in the group of genin, and wondered how things got so out of control. I blame Danzo and his people for creating the weakness in Konoha, but the bastard still hasn't been found. The Forest of Death, as it's called, Lu Yen said after taking a swig from his booze gourd. Naruto kept a partial ear on the directions and the gripping from many of the other genin, including the Konoha ones. Weak. Didn't their senseis warn them in advance? Glad Ka-san, Aeropop and Uncle told us what to expect. Actually, glad I'm not part of Konoha. They sound like, as Taiyuya-chan said, a bunch of fucking whiners. Naruto thought about one of his uncle's personal guard. He could sense Kimimaro nearby and knew the man was watching over him. He shared a look with Kin and Gaara. Kin used her eyes and he followed the look to where the Uchiha was standing surrounded by his fangirls and fellow Konoha nin. The haughty look on the idiot's face made him realize that the mission would be easy with how sloppy they all stood. No discipline. Hell, even when goofing off shaking his head he snorted. Gaara nodded while Kin signed the forms, forging his and Gaara's name like she'd done before. The three entered the tent and took the scroll. Lu Yen eyeing them. Now be careful in there, the drunken master said with a happy grin. We will. Naruto pulled a flask out and tossed it to the man. Some of Rice's finest. The man caught it, his eyes focusing on the beverage container, then looked at Naruto. There was a clarity there. We'll share a drink sometime. Naruto nodded. But of course he looked around, smiled. Later, sensei. He whispered and followed Gaara and Kin towards their gate. You smiled as the blonde left. You've grown a lot over the last few years, Naruto. Be safe. The next team came in and the drunk sloppily handed them a scroll and accepted the consent forms. You are looking well, Naruto. The blonde frowned as Sub-Zero and Scorpion stood on either side of the third figure. Nadas? Stay out of our way during the exam, Naruto. I am not here for you this time, the skull-masked Nada said. Who are you, the Uchiha? He said. Very observant, Naruto. How is Kyubi? Sleeping and nearly absorbed, Naruto said. Aeropop adjusted the seal. So you're nearly out of luck. Nada's eyes behind the mask narrowed. You six. No fighting before the exam, a Chunin called out. Good luck, Naruto, Nada said, leading his team away. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Eat shit and die soon, bastard. Gaara chuckled at this while Kin pouted. You've really been around Taiyuya too much, Naruto-kun, she said. Gaara looked at her and for some reason the comment bubbled up. And you wish it was you he was close to? The flute user scowled at Gaara. What do you know, sandboy? Gaara couldn't help it. He blamed it on the fact he was able to sleep and his best friend Naruto was rubbing off on him. I know you, and nearly every girl our age wants to have Naruto bed them and make them his, my sister included. Naruto got a look on his face when he heard that. She slipped into my window. I had nothing to do with that, Gaara. That is the only reason you lived, the redhead said. That and your sister had a long talk with me after I buried you under a sand hill. Naruto patted his friend's shoulder. He and Temari were the only ones allowed touch him without his sand flaring up. Sorry about that. Enkone-chan gets overprotective. Kin snorted as she recalled her own discussion with the snake Jonin and shuddered. It was taking her and Haku to fight her off, and Kin wasn't liking the idea of having to share with anyone. Here's our gate, Gaara said. They looked at their watches and saw they had a good 40 minutes left before the exam would start, and the other teams reached their gates. Wonder where the others are going to be starting from? Naruto sat down. Gaara smiled. Got a map? The three shared a smile. Sarutobi sighed as he got the reports. Outside forces are here. If what Tsunade and the others have said, this Nadas is a very dangerous man. What's more is that cloud, rain and grass are showing signs of attacking as well. He puffed on his pipe and cursed the day that the Sanin had abandoned Konoha. Their breaking ties with Konoha weakened us greatly. Oto has flourished over the years. They have acquired many strong ninja and the young ones are even stronger. They acquired the children of the Kazekage, one of whom holds another demon. Sarutobi sighed as he recalled the council demanding that he grab the Kyubi brat and make him a personal weapon of Konoha. Sarutobi snorted. The person to do that will have to deal with Tsunade. That's if they survive Jiraiya and Orochimaru, and from what my former pupil told me, the Sound Village loves Naruto and would go to war for him. Sarutobi recalled the earlier meeting with Orochimaru, who told him how Naruto would find strays and bring them to the village, how he would help them open up and heal their hearts and souls. Flashback. The one you'll really need to look out for is Kimimaro. Tsunade and Naruto saved his body, but it was Naruto who healed his heart and soul, Orochimaru said, sipping his tea. What do you mean, Orochi? Kimimaro had a rare disease. His clan had been betrayed and he's all that's left. He was prepared to die. He took an assassination mission to come to Oto and kill me. Orochimaru smiled as he looked at Kidamaru and Jirobo. He ran into Naruto, and his disease kicked in hard. He coughed up a lot of blood and passed out. Sarutobi listened as Orochimaru told him about the surgery and the removing of toxins from the man's body. How Naruto spent days with the recovering man, just talking with him. When he'd healed, he'd come to Orochimaru to kill him. Naruto had been there. I won't say what happened between them, it was special, but from that day Kimimaro swore his life, his blood and his future clan to Naruto and Tsuhime. Orochimaru looked over his teacup. And let me just say, if your council tries anything, Kimimaro will lay waste to Konoha. Us too, Jirobo said from the door with his arms crossed. Orochimaru smiled. Yes, all of Oto loves that boy. He looked at Sarutobi. Konoha made their intentions clear all those years ago, Sarutobi-sensei. He is our child, and to take him would be all-out war. We have allies, some are yours, but push comes to shove. Orochimaru gave a Gaelic shrug. End flashback. Sarutobi looked at the monument. Minato, you may have saved this village, but we damned your child and it will come back and bite us on the ass, and this time, I don't think we deserve saving. Naruto was leaning against the tree while Kin was laying with her head in his lap. He was playing with her regular flute, and she hummed along with him. You really are talented, Naruto-kun, Kin said as he paused. Thanks, Kin-chan, he said. Both looked to see a figure approaching. Uchiha, Gaara said. He had his eyes closed, and was using his sand to watch the other teams with his floating eyes. Otodobe, Sasuke said. So Kin, do you and Haku-chan think you can handle Enko? Naruto asked, ignoring the dark-haired Konoha teen. Kin's eyes widened as she looked up at Naruto, who smirked at her then winked. Woohoo! She thought as her heart sped up as he leaned down and gave her a peck on the forehead. Don't ignore me! Sasuke yelled. He moved to attack, but a Chunin appeared. Move along, Uchiha, report to your gate, your team is waiting for you. Sasuke seethed. This isn't over. You say something, duck-ass? Naruto said as he adjusted the flute and played a little ditty that seemed to match the stomps as Sasuke stormed away. Flirt later, Gaara said as he stood. He rolled up the map and stood. It's nearly time. Kin scowled as she sat up. Naruto stood with the ease of a cat. Or a really hot fox. Kin thought, looking him over, she jumped when he pulled her to her feet. Daydream later, Kin-chan. I'm sure I can fulfill whatever you're dreaming of. Gaara sighed as the girl was blown back with a fountain nosebleed. Sigh, you just had to push her buttons now. Naruto shrugged. What can I say? Aeropop told me to have fun during the exam. You do know they are going to claim you one of these days. You can't keep the clueless facade up forever, Gaara said. I've heard Temari planned to tie you down, and in her words, make a man out of you all night long. Naruto paused from helping Kin and looked at his friend. And you're going to kill me? Gaara paused and looked at him. No. I'd like you as a brother-in-law. Naruto watched his teammate gather the scroll up. He looked at Kin and wiped the blood from her upper lip and nose. Wake up, Kin-chan, he said softly. No, I want to dream more of Naruto-kun, the girl said, taking his hand and clamping her hands around it and holding it against her chest. Naruto swallowed several times and looked around, thanking Kami that Enko wasn't here, nor his mom. Kami, they'd kill her and lecture me, he thought as he shook her again. Come on, Kin-chan, Enko will kill you otherwise. The girl was on her feet looking about wildly. Naruto smiled and put her spare flute in her hands. Come on, it's time, he said. She watched him walk away, her eyes going from the flute to the blonde, and then she recalled what he'd said and she made a squeee sound just as the buzzer sounded, and the second task of the Chunin exam began with the teams leaping deep into the forest. Bored now, Naruto said as he twisted the IWA nin's neck around with minimal effort. You and Enko have short attention spans, Kin hissed as she pickpocketed the bodies of the IWA ninja they just fought. Gaara, surrounded by sand as it flowed back into his gourd, gave the puddle that had been his opponent a disappointed look. The gear was blood-soaked from his attack, the flesh being liquefied under the pressure. Another Earth Scroll, Naruto said, finding the scroll in his opponent's belongings. Head for the tower? He asked. We haven't encountered the Uchiha, Kin said. Naruto shook his head. With Nadas and his freaks here, it would be a bad idea to remain as exposed. They had encountered a grass team 2 minutes in and got the Heaven Scroll. They'd been searching the last hour for the Uchiha, but came up empty. And we haven't seen the others either, Kin said. Gaara? Naruto asked, seeing his red-headed friend pulling out the map. Kankuro and his team are coming from the far north. Haku's team is coming from west, he said, pointing at the locations on the map. Good thing we all carry sand vials, Kin muttered. Gaara nodded and pointed at the map. The Uchiha's team would be coming from this way. That's too far out of our way. Best bet would be Kankuro and Kabuto with Dosu getting to him. The 3 Oto Nins studied the map. We're not far from Haku and Temari, Naruto began, and Kin chuckled. Wonder if Ryu's alive or being dragged. Ryu's got skills, Kinchan, he just hates putting in the effort, Naruto said. If my sister has to, she will beat him the whole way to the tower to motivate him, Gaara said. Yeah, especially if she wants to impress Naruto-kun, Kin muttered. Naruto pretended to play deaf as he looked at the map. Nada's team should be in that area near Sasuke. While I don't relish the idea of him getting the Sharingan, we're not close enough, and with Scorpion and Sub-Zero backing him. The wave of killing intent from the distance stopped him. That came from near Haku and Temari's location, Naruto said, and not wasting time leapt to the tree and put on speed. Kin and Gaara right behind him, the 3 sharing the thought of please be alright. Get back, you bastards! Temari yelled, using her fan to create a wind cyclone to send the kunai back at the trio of Sunanin. Just my luck, we run into Sunanins and they have a grudge and orders from my father to kill me, Kankuro and Gaara. Bastard. The blonde wind user snarled. Haku was entertaining the other 2 while Ryu was dealing with one of the forest's inhabitants in the form of a pair of tigers. She used her fan to send the kunai back at the Sunanin. She blinked when a hand appeared in the nin's chest. Seconds later the Sunanin was ripped apart. Standing there was a ninja in gear similar to the ones that Naruto had warned them about, but its markings were different, and in blood red. Syrax, you fool, another voice said, and Temari saw a man with a half-metal faceplate. We're supposed to join up with the others. Shut up, Kano. The one identified as Syrax intoned in a cold, emotionless voice. Finish off the Suna fools or give them to Jade. The one called Kano snorted, his lone eye focusing on Temari. Well, hello, pretty. Temari leapt back to a higher tree, her eyes taking in the 2 men. What do you want? You're not part of the exam. Kano chuckled. You're right, sweetness, we're not. But we can't let you inform the authorities now, can we? Ryu below finished off the tigers with a spinning uppercut. Haku was with her against these 2, and she knew there was another one out there somewhere. Not good. If they're here with the ones Naruto said to avoid, this is going to get uglier than Kankuro's scene coming out of a shower with his puppet, Temari thought. How about we saw nothing and you leave us and our teams alone? She tried to negotiate. Negative, Syrax intoned. No witnesses. But we wouldn't have witnessed nothing if you didn't involve yourselves in our fight. Ain't she something? Sounds like one of them lawyer types, Kano said. Haku, not wasting more time, launched a series of needles at Kano. He flashed his killing intent as he smacked them out of the air. It was oppressive and deadly. So dark, so rich with murder, Haku and Temari both thought. Sorry, loves, but business is business. We'll make it quick, Kano said, drawing a large knife. He licked the blade. Scream for me, he said before leaping. Naruto and his team arrived as Kano was straddling Temari and had his knife in a reverse grip and was about to plunge it down. One moment Naruto was there, the next he was kicking Kano off the blonde fan user. Who the hell are you? Kano demanded. Naruto, and you were attacking someone precious to me. Naruto-kun, look out! He dove aside and Syrax missed him with a chakra net that hit a tree and began to dissolve. Great, another of Nada's freak squads. Kano paused and Syrax looked at him. So you're the Naruto bloke we're to avoid, Kano said. You're told to avoid me? Yeah. The boss says if we engage you, we are to back off immediately. He looked at Temari. Looks like you'll only scream later, pretty. Come near her again and I will kill you, Naruto growled. Kano smirked and shivered theatrically. Oh. So scared, mate. Just be glad I honor my contracts. He turned towards his partner. Let's go. We need to hook up with Jade and get to the Uchiha. The 2 shoe-shined away. Naruto helped Temari up as Haku landed next to them. You both okay? Yeah. The one called Kano is quick, he seemed to shimmer as he moved. Temari said. Ryu climbed up the tree and sighed. Are we done? Can we go to the tower now? Haku nodded. We've got our scrolls, we were just trying to find the Uchiha. Naruto nodded. Gaara has sand eyes on the other teams. We know where he is, but Nada's team is nearby, and Ka-san wants us to avoid them, so the mission will have to wait. Unless this Nada's gets to him first. Temari said as Gaara and Kin joined them. So what are we going to do? Ryu asked. Head towards the tower, but we'll hold off entering for now. I want to see if we can slow down any of the other teams. Naruto decided. If we're lucky we might get the Uchiha that way. That close to the tower? Kin asked. Naruto shrugged. In this phase of the exam we can kill up until they reach the tower. Haku and Temari nodded. Gaara looked at the Sunanin that littered the ground. Temari explained. Seems father needs a lesson in family bonding, Gaara said coldly. We'll deal with him soon enough. Uncle Orochi won't like that he tried this either. We can deal with Temari began hotly, but Naruto cut her off. I'm sure you can, Temari-chan. But you are Otonins now. That is constituted as breaking the contract your father the Kazekage made with Uncle Orochi when he traded 3 ninja for you. He looked at the others. Well, let's go. Gaara, the map. The sand user pulled out the map and using his sand made markers. We're here. The Konoha Genin are here, here, and the Uchiha's team is here in what we've been told is dark territory due to the size of the insects and other beasts there. It is also under a permanent veil of darkness. Nada's and his freaks throw off the plans, and it's best if we avoid them. Nada's is easily Sanin level, and Scorpion and Sub-Zero are near Jonin level. Ryu snorted. Near yours or Gaara's level then. While we're strong we aren't going to show our abilities here. We're in enemy territory. Konoha's our enemy? Ryu asked in surprise and the others groaned. Don't you ever listen during briefings? Kin asked. Did you say something? Ryu fired back only to get a triple smack across the back of his head from the 3 women in the group. As I was saying, Kankuro and his team are coming from the north, and will have to cross the tower to come towards us and the Uchiha. And they aren't aware of the added freaks, Haku said. Unless they have another team other than the one we just saw, then we'll assume no. Naruto confirmed. Well, it's settled. We'll set traps along this route and hope for the best, Temari said as she grabbed her large fan. Move out, Naruto ordered and they took to the trees. Enko looked at the message she'd just gotten from Haku and shuddered. She hurried over and pulled Tsunade aside. We've got more trouble, Ka-san, she said lowly. Nada's has another team in the forest, independent of the exam. Damn it. Naruto's ordered the mission to change in the field. He's ordered your team and mine to set up a trap for the Uchiha, but it seems like Nada's is after him as well. Shit, Tsunade said. Naruto's told the team to not engage the freaks or Nada's, and if it looks like they got the Uchiha, they'll enter the tower and abandon the target. Tsunade was relieved to hear that. So they got the scrolls? Enko smirked. Haku said Naruto's team had their scroll 2 minutes in. Tsunade smiled. That's my boy. Enko smiled. That's my little brother. Should we tell Aeropop? Enko asked. Nah. I think he's off peeping on the bathhouses again. We'll let him know later. What about Uncle O? Tsunade smiled. He's with the Hokage. Wouldn't be right to disturb him. You just want to hold on to this and gloat later. Damn right, Tsunade said. But we can let Kimimaro know. I'll go find Bones. Enko's shoe shined away and Tsunade saw the Konoha Jonin were still talking about their students. Be careful, Naruto. Be damn careful. What is keeping that cross-dressing brother of yours? Naruto asked Temari and Gaara. Both the Sabuku siblings shared a look and shrugged. Kabuto and Dosu should have been able to keep him out of trouble. Naruto hated waiting. It was one thing he shared with his Ka-san. Neither had the patience to wait long periods. He looked to see Kin cleaning her battle flute. Haku was meditating and Ryu was asleep against a log, his headband covering his eyes. Temari and Gaara were playing shogi, and Gaara was losing badly. Naruto was pacing back and forth now as sitting still was eating at his nerves. Gaara, what's? Same as you asked me before. Their positions on the map haven't changed. They're all in a sit and wait pattern. The Konoha Genin teams have moved up, but they all seem to be converging on the Uchiha's position. Naruto bit his lip. Popular bastard, isn't he? What do you think? He asked the Sabuka Sibs. About what? Temari asked. Should we go see what's happening? Naruto asked. You said we should sit and wait, Temari said. Yeah, but I didn't think they were going to be dragging their feet, Naruto said. Hey! They all looked up to see Kankuro, Kabuto, and Dosu came around the tower and made for them. What took you so long? Naruto asked. Kankuro shrugged and went to talk to his siblings. Naruto looked at Kabuto, who pushed his glasses up. Forgive our tardiness, Naruto-sama. We ran into a squad that is aligned with Nada's. Damn, Naruto muttered. They won't be around any longer. It's what took us so long, as they proved to be decent fighters. Dosu nodded. They identified themselves as Reptile, Smoke, and Rain. They were all dressed similar to Scorpion and Sub-Zero, but different colors. Yeah, I kicked ass, Kankuro said, and the other sighed at his boasting. Kankuro did fare well. He lost a puppet as the one called Reptile spat acid. Bastard was fast too, he could blend into the foliage like a chameleon, Kankuro said from where he was raiding his siblings' packs for food. Lost my backpack and 2 of my puppets. You still have Crow? Temari gestured to the wrapped puppet. Yeah. Dosu saved him for me. They're dead and we've sealed them in scroll to hand over to Lord Orochimaru. Kabuto continued. How was your task? Naruto went on to explain the other team and how Nada's was stalking the Uchiha. He showed them the map. They're in this area called Dark Territory. It seems like a waiting game. No one has moved according to Gaara's sand eyes. A snake slithered out of the foliage from the tower. Lord Naruto. Asia. Naruto went to a knee and held out an arm for the little snake. What are you doing out here? Message from your mother and Anko. The Oto ninja were on their feet and gathered around. Report to tower. Scrub mission. The little ASP hissed. Well, that's that, Naruto said. Thank you, Asia. He stroked the snake's head. I'll make sure Nechan gets you some mice. Thank you, Naruto, you are kind. The snake dismissed itself and Naruto looked at the Oto group. Well, you heard the orders. Uchiha is out of our hands. Head to the tower. Kabuto stopped him. I'm afraid we didn't get a heaven scroll, Naruto-sama, he said. Naruto looked at the others. Anyone got a spare? Shakes of head and Naruto groaned. And the only teams left are in Dark Territory. Wonderful. Kabuto straightened. We will go on and get a scroll. We could help, Naruto began. No, Lady Tsunade would not be pleased. Our team will do it alone and join you as soon as possible. Go to the tower, Naruto-sama. Naruto narrowed his eyes, then sighed. Very well, Kabuto. Don't die, my sister would be most displeased. Kin and Haku snorted and Temari shook her head as well. After dividing up the supplies to rearm Kabuto and the others, the 6 genin entered the tower while the last Oto team headed off towards something far more dangerous. Naruto and the others opened the scrolls and were greeted by Tsunade and Anko. They were ushered to a side room where Orochimaru and Jiraiya was waiting. Where's the other team? Orochimaru asked, getting to his feet. They didn't acquire a scroll yet. They did run into another team of Nada's freaks, Naruto said. They reported everything and Orochimaru did not look happy. And with them all in Dark Territory, anything can happen, Orochimaru hissed. He's after the Uchiha? Yes, he's admitted as much, as did the one called Kano. Naruto looked at the others and turned around. I'm going. No. Tsunade, Anko and Orochimaru said at the same time. We need to stay here. But what about Naruto? Started to complain. We need to trust their abilities, Orochimaru said sadly. Konoha is watching us carefully. If you go charging back out there. Naruto spun and kicked a chair across the room. Damn it, Uncle, Nada's is out there. Kankuro, Kabuto, and Dosu are going to get annihilated. We need to trust them, Naruto, Orochimaru said. I hate it as well, but right now we can't go running around like a leaf kneeing with one of Jiraiya's stupid books. We need to play smart and keep what we know close. Sarutobi has admitted that many in Konoha would like nothing more than to kill you. Fucking fox, Naruto muttered, resting a hand on his stomach. He looked at Anko, who looked unsettled as well. They remembered Nada's and how strong he was. Bad idea, Kankuro muttered as they leapt from branch to branch. Did I mention this was a stupid idea? He asked louder. Kabuto sighed and adjusted his glasses. Numerous times. But we have our mission, he said. Abort, Kankuro said. Too late, we're committed, Dosu admitted. We're nearly there. Kankuro sighed. This has clusterfuck written all over it, he muttered, fingering the kunai Naruto and Temari had armed him with. There, Kabuto said as they landed on a branch. Down in a clearing they saw the Uchiha's team laid to waste. Nada's was holding the Uchiha up by his throat. What should we do? Kankuro asked. How about die? The three Otonin scattered as Kano landed with a grin, his knife buried deep into the branch where they'd been a second before. We have no quarrel with you, Kabuto said. We just need a scroll to enter the tower. You kicking the shit out of Konoha is none of our business, the usually quiet medic said. He was nervous. The amount of killing intent coming from the clearing was at levels nearly making them sick, even at this distance. You killed our comrades, Kano said as he licked the blade of his knife. They attacked us, we have not quarreled and won none, Dosa said. Oh, you got a quarrel, mate. Syrax hates losing those he considers clan. The Oto 3 scattered again, as the acid net slammed into the tree and started to dissolve the bark, scorching the tree. Not good, Kabuto thought, seeing another Nin join the knife wielder. A woman wearing an outfit similar to Anko's with green hot pants and halter top and a mask joined them. She was holding a staff. About time you joined us, Jade, Kano snarked. You leave us with all the work. Poor baby, she said, tossing her long black hair over her shoulder with a snap of her head. Nada says leave one alive to deliver a message to Uzumaki, she said, holding up a scroll. She pointed. Leave that one. Kill the other two. Oh shit. Nada smirked as Sub-Zero shattered the pink-haired girl into hundreds of pieces and the Uchiha's other teammate was burnt alive by Scorpion. He looked at the Uchiha in his grasp. Don't worry, boy. Your suffering is about to end. I just want your eyes. Even without the Sharingan activated, I can use them. Uchiha DNA after all will be valuable to the highest bidder soon. Nada's paused. I suppose we'll need more genetic material. He snapped his fingers and another ninja appeared. She wore the same marks as Sub-Zero. Frost. Take him to the doctor. Once he has all he needs, kill him and dispose of him. The female ninja, like the other two, was silent as she froze Sasuke Uchiha in a block of ice up to his neck and then vanished in a blast of cold air. He looked over his shoulder as Jade, Kano and Syrax disposed of the Otonin. He considered killing the other Konoha nin, but they were like frightened rabbits hiding in the brush. Let's go. I wish to see how Naruto-kun handles the next round. Nada's and his team leapt away, the sign of slaughter all around. In the bushes, Team 8, Team 9 and Team 10 were being sick at the wholesale slaughter they just witnessed, too afraid from the killing intent to even move to help Team 7. Niji Hyuga, the first able to move, saw the Odo team and found a survivor amidst the carnage. He saw the scroll stuffed into the nin's clothes and read the name. Uzumaki. It was a name Niji would remember. It was a name he would blame for the slaughter here in the forest. It was a name he'd report to the Hokage as soon as possible. Pardon the intrusion, Lord Orochimaru. The Hokage requests your presence, a Chunin said after opening the door. Tell the Sandaime I will be there shortly, Orochimaru said. I've got a bad feeling about this, Naruto muttered. Stow it, Gaki, Jiraiya said. Everything is fine. No, it's not, Aeropop. Kabuto and the others should have made it back by now, Naruto said. Anko, stay with your brother and the others. Dobe, come with me, Orochimaru said. What about me? Tsunade asked. Protect them, Haim, Orochimaru whispered to her. Naruto's right, something feels off. She nodded as she pulled out a deck of cards. Anyone for poker? Orochimaru looked at the escort he and Jiraiya picked up. His personal guard, along with nearly 20 NBU. Something is wrong here, he hissed. Jiraiya said nothing, but Orochimaru noted the serious look in his friend's eyes. Trap? The Toad Sage asked. Not from Sarutobi-sensei, Orochimaru said. Danzo? The Otokage snorted. That old warhorse is on the run. I doubt he'd mess with us now. The council then? Jiraiya suggested. And start a war? Orochimaru signaled Jirobo. Make sure Kimimaro stays close to Naruto. He hissed. Already done, my lord. Sakan and Yukon want to know if we should kill any of the MBU. Orochimaru shook his head. Not right now. They're just watching. I'm sure the Hokage has an explanation for this. The powerhouse of the Sound Four fell back. They reached the tower and entered. Ignoring the secretary, they entered the Hokage's office. Orochi, Jiraiya, come in, come in. Once they were in, seated the third side, as he took his own seat. I have some disturbing news. Several genin teams were killed in the forest by an outside force. We were made aware of them by our genin teams who managed to avoid them, Orochimaru said. Not all of them, I'm afraid. What? What do you? Jiraiya paused. Kankuro? Kabuto? Dosu? I'm afraid 2 of them are dead and 3rd is in critical condition. The man who did this called himself Natas. Orochimaru closed his eyes. Which one survived? Kabuto Yakushi, and that's due to a bloodline he's got for rapid healing, the 3rd said. Natas and his team arrived in the tower, but there were other witnesses. A genin team saw what happened. They witnessed the death of 2 Konoha genin and a kidnapping of a 3rd. We're sorry to hear this, but what does this have to do with us, Sarutobi? We need to check on our genin. A scroll was left with the survivor, the Hokage said, holding up a blood-stained scroll. It was addressed to Naruto Uzumaki, but the genin that found them opened it. He believes that Naruto is responsible for what happened. Figures, the Gaki's not even there and Konoha blames him. Nadas left a message. He wants Naruto to participate in the Chunin exams, no pulling him out. He wants to see how strong he is, and if Naruto can win, he will return our stolen genin to us unharmed. He lies, Orochimaru said. We have no choice but to believe him. You must keep Naruto in the tournament, and not pull your genin out. Unacceptable. I am not risking my son for a genin of Konoha because some psychopath wants to play games. The genin in question is Sasuke Uchiha. If you don't aid us, the council will see this as collaboration. We have no treaty with Konoha, so why should we care what those bastards who, if I remember correctly, ordered assassination missions on our son? Orochimaru said, cutting him off. Really, Sensei, you think we don't know what's going on around here? The under-the-table missions by the council, the backroom dealings for kidnappings, Jiraiya said. Your former teammates are still in contact with Danzo and they influenced the civilian council, even though they were stripped of their titles the last time we were here. Orochimaru continued. We will mention this to Naruto and allow him to make an informed decision, Orochimaru said. Jiraiya stood. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a genin to check on. I'll let Tsunade and the others know. Jiraiya stood and left. The 2 Kages looked across the desk at one another. Orochi. Save it, Sarutobi-sensei. I will not endanger my people, not for Konoha. The Uchiha is your problem. He stood. Be careful of Nadas and his freaks. They are as strong as any of the Sanin. Sarutobi paled. All of them? In their own ways. Each of them has powers that put the Kekkei Genkai of Konoha to shame. Explain, please. One of his lieutenants is called Sub-Zero. The most we've been able to gather on him is he's a cryomancer. He controls ice like none before. His co-lieutenant is called Scorpion. He's got some sort of symbiotic spear. He also seems to manipulate fire and can't be killed. What? I saw members of the Akatsuki attack him. The first to die were the immortals Haiden and Zetsu. They fell to one man, if that's what we can call him. Naruto at the start of the exam sent word back that they were de-aged. I'm getting too old for this shit, Sarutobi muttered. The Otonin filled the hospital after Jiraiya told them of the death of Kankuro and Dosu and the critical condition of Kabuto. Gaara's-san swirled around him angrily. They will pay, he kept repeating. Temari was holding on to Naruto, sobbing at the loss of her sibling. Kin and Haku were with Anko, trying to keep her from going out alone and hunting. Tsunade and Shizen were in the room with Kabuto now, while Jiraiya had left after seeing his student. The look on his face was rage. Kimimaro stood near Naruto, his eyes in motion as he looked for a threat. We should never have let them go alone, Naruto said as Temari's sobs lessened. It's my fault. No, Temari said, looking up at him. Temari, I was in overall field command, Naruto said. He looked at the others. We're going to do this. But we'll do this smart, he said. I don't think this is a good idea, Ryu said. Noted. Kasan said there is a preliminary before the third round. If you feel you can't do this, withdraw now. There will be nothing said. What are you going to do? Haku asked from next to Anko. I will continue on. I need to see what Nada's has planned, Naruto informed them. The others wasted no time in stating their intentions to continue on as well. Bro? Anko said, her voice cold, nearly emotionless now. What? If you meet up with any of his freaks, kill them all. The last day came and went, and the last teams entered the tower. Hade gave the speech, and 2 of the Konoha Genin teams gave up. They saw what happened in the forest, and with Sub-Zero and Scorpion standing there, they didn't think they could pass. Niji Hyuga, Tenten and Rock Lee stayed in it for Konoha. For Oto, Naruto, Temari, Gaara, and Ryu stayed in. Kin and Haku pulled out after a look from Tsunade. Nada's pulled out as well, surprising everyone. Scorpion and Sub-Zero remained. Well, since we are down to 9, we shall then move on to the final round without the need of preliminary round, Hade said, seeing what was left. You will have 1 month to prepare. In times past this used to be a one-on-one tournament, but this year we are going to do something different. Hade coughed several times before speaking again. In 1 month's time we shall have a come as you are battle royal, until the last 2 remain where they will battle to declare the winner. So will there only be 1 Chunin? One of the Konoha Genin asked from the back. No, this is an evaluation of abilities and skills, Hade said. I wish you all well, and we shall reconvene in 1 month's time. As they were leaving, many of the Konoha Genin were giving those that had remained in a wide berth. Naruto smirked as he passed the Hyuga girl and gave her a wink, which caused her to gasp and turn red. Hinata? What's wrong? Her teammate with the dog asked. Naruto chuckled and kept walking. Kin, Haku and Temari all glared at the girl as they passed her by. The message to her was clear. Stay away from my / our Naruto-kun, bitch. Nada's watched with a smirk. Good. Good. Soon you shall come to me, Naruto. Konoha will sacrifice you to me to get their Uchiha back. I am quite afraid that he won't survive, however. He laughed as he faded into the shadows, his laugh echoing off the arena's walls. Naruto-kun? Haku said, sticking her head in his room only to find him gone. She checked the other rooms with no success. Lady Tsunade. Yes, what is it? Do you know where Naruto-kun is? The Oto nins were not amused. You know, this can be considered kidnapping. Kakashi Hatake looked at the blonde tied to the pole, his lone eye shaped like a U. Forgive me for the way our meeting is going, but I had need to speak with you, and while I think I nearly convinced Lady Tsunade to allow me to speak with you, but it would have been supervised. Naruto snorted, his hands forming pure chakra blades as he began to slice his bonds. I do believe I said you had nothing I wanted to hear. Kakashi shrugged. Be that as it may. He sat down across from Naruto. I did you a disservice the day you were born. I know. Ka-san told me how the village treated me on the day the Kyuubi attacked after my own father sealed the 9-tailed fox inside of me. Kakashi looked down. My only apology is that I was not in the right frame of mind after hearing the death of my sensei and his wife. I was filled with grief and it controlled my actions. Naruto shrugged a shoulder. If that is all, I have things to do. No, it's not all, Kakashi said. There are things you need to know. Things I can tell you about your father. Hatake-san, let me be blunt. Sanin has taught me everything my father knew. He's told me about my parents. There is nothing you can say that will surprise me. Kakashi looked at him and was about to respond when the wall exploded in and a pissed-off Tsunade led the way. Behind her were several kunoichi. This is going to hurt, isn't it? Hatake asked in a moment of clarity. Better believe it, bub. Naruto muttered, watching as the girls he knew proceeded to turn the Konoha Jonin into a frozen, pummeled, pincushion with bruises, before a pist of slug Sanin punch sent him flying across Konoha into the Hokage monument. Said females then turned to the bound Nero, who deactivated his chakra blades. Ladies, Ka-san? He said. You are in big trouble, mister. His mother said. It's not my fault, Naruto said, hoping to forego any repercussions. Naruto looked at the bonds. You know, not that I wouldn't object to being tied to the bed, but I usually pictured it with less clothes and only one girl. Kin and Haku blushed while Tamari snorted. What can we say we want you? The fan user said with a perfectly straight face. Kimimaro was not happy he lost you, Kin said. Come on, ladies, I didn't go with Ataki willingly. He was in here when I entered and she shined us away and had me hog-tied before I could say boo. Which was stupid of him considering that Nada's kidnapped the Uchiha, Tamari said. Will you please untie me? Naruto asked. Haku reached for it, but Enko entered. Nope. Nei-chan. I'm trying to think of a reason not to use the handcuff jutsu to bind you to me until we're out of this hellhole. It's not that bad, Haku said. Girly, if I had a choice between living here or in hell, I'd rent this place out and live in hell, Enko said. What's wrong? Naruto asked. Uncle O is meeting with the Konoha Council right now. They want us to hand you over to them so they can trade you for the Uchiha. Naruto snorted. And where is Ka-san? She is having words with Ataki. I think she was about to give him a full exam. Naruto winced. An arrow pop? Where else? Enko asked with a smirk. He never changes, Naruto said with a sigh. Now let me go. If it's as bad as you say, having me loose to defend myself would be the right course of action. Enko sighed and nodded. Haku released him, and as she was leaning over him, she shot him a grin and kissed him. Hey! 3 voices lanced out. A pissed-off Enko was kicking the girls from the room, while Tamari and Kin were yelling about unfair. Naruto smirked as Enko slammed the door after hurting the last kunoichi from the room. You know, Enko Nei-chan, you can't keep girls away from me forever, Naruto said, rubbing his wrists. Want to bet? I'm not Ka-san, I actually have luck, Naruto fired back. Enko grabbed a chair, spun it around and straddled it. Kidding aside, I'm curious which one will get through and claim you. Naruto laughed. Maybe it's a Konoha kunoichi? I saw a Hyuga I could get to faint or blush with a look and a wink. Stay away from the Konoha crowd. You have 3 girls that will kill for you already. Naruto smiled. So, you're saying make a harem with them? Enko sighed. You know, I believe it would take all 3 to keep you out of trouble. It's not my fault everyone wants me, Naruto said with an innocent look. Enko snorted. You okay? Naruto asked. Enko shot him a look. I know how you feel about Kabuto. You don't need to pretend with me, sis. Enko looked away. I want the bastard who did that to him, she admitted. Even with his advanced healing factor, he's uncritical. We'll get him. I promise you. Nada's and his freaks will pay. Enko nodded, blinking several times to clear her eyes. Don't take stupid risks. It's me, Naruto said. That's what I'm talking about. The siblings sat in silence for a while. Why did Ka-san want Haku and Kin out of the finals? Naruto asked. Enko sighed. I'll be the first to admit, Haku is damn scary, especially with those ice mirrors. But she wants them to be fully rested in case Nada's tries something. Haku is the best defense we have against Sub-Zero. Naruto was twitching his foot. You want to go train? Enko asked. Hell yes. Neither could sit still for long, and being cooped up in the hotel was driving them insane. Naruto pinned a note to the bed and they shined away. Kimimaro sighed as he watched the siblings spar. He'd followed them, and he had to admit to himself he was amazed they stayed in one place for so long. Enko needed to vent about what happened to Kabuto, and Naruto's energetic ways left no room for him to be confined without millions in property damage. Why the fuck are they all the goddamn way out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere? Tayuya asked, leaning against a tree. Kimimaro remained quiet. He knew of the sound for Tayuya would be the best beside himself to protect Naruto from outside harm. The explosion below showed the siblings laughing as more explosions sounded around them. That is some fucked up shit, the redhead muttered. It is how they bond, the bone user said. Humph. They watched as Naruto altered between 6 different fighting styles, Enko's own Hibi style keeping her in motion as they went to pure taijutsu. He is cute if you're into that shit, you know. Kimimaro sighed. Can you be quiet for 5 minutes? Fuck no. Oh. Blondie's got moves, Wonder if I should get me some as his fan club isn't around. Kimimaro sighed. The amount of girls seeking the blonde was growing. When I swore to protect him, who knew it would become like this? Shit! He looked at Tayuya's curse and saw the blonde flying at them at high speed. Before he could move, the redhead was leaping from the tree and catching the blonde. They landed with a thump. Naruto looked at his savior. Hey Tae-chan. What did you do that for? What the fuck do you mean what did I do that for shitstain? You would have bounced off that tree broken in two, you dumbass. Anko was there. You okay, bro? Yeah. Tae-chan said I would have bounced. Anko shrugged. Whoops. Both laughed. Crazy fuckers. Kimimaro above sighed. Too close. Anko and Kimimaro watched from the shadows. I can't believe she asked him out. Kimimaro remained silent. I mean, the most abrasive of the lot, froze when he turned those big blue eyes on her after she'd caught him, and she stuttered like a schoolgirl. Anko continued. Kimimaro remained quiet, his eyes watching the pair at the ramen stand eating and talking. Tayuya was still her abrasive and vulgar self, but it didn't bother Naruto. He was talking about a fight from the forest and gesturing about with his chopsticks. This is going to cause trouble, the leader of the Sound Five said. Bah. It'll just make the competition tighter. I know they'll all want to take him out now. Kimimaro shot her a side look. You actually want one of them to date him? Hell yeah. I just enjoy putting them all through the ringer. I want to make sure they're dedicated to my little brother. Kimimaro sighed. I should rotate her off Naruto's detail if she's going to have an emotional attachment. Like hell you will, Anko said. She'll fight to protect him that much more, and you'll be able to sleep more than 2.5 hours without waking up and worrying about him. Kimimaro sighed. I failed twice already. Nada's and his team got too close and Hataki kidnapped him from under our noses. You're allowed to make mistakes. Just learn from them. Besides, Naruto thinks you're one of the best ninja we have. And who is the best? Me, Anko said with a grin. Her eyes narrowed. Oh ho. They watched as Tayuya used the excuse of Naruto having ramen on his chin to steal a kiss. Is that Tum? And I thought Haku's stolen kiss was something come up for air you too. She muttered as Tayuya was like a pirate and plundered Naruto's mouth. Any time now, Anko said. They watched the redhead spin Naruto's stool and straddle him. Okay, that's enough. Anko vanished with a shushin and reappeared behind the pair. Time out, she said and grabbed the foul-mouthed Kunoichi who started swearing the minute her mouth was separated forcefully from Naruto's. Said blonde was in a daze, a grin formed on his lips as he stared off into space. Kimimaro sighed as Tayuya was getting inventive with her words and descriptions. He didn't know what an elephant was, but he was certain it wouldn't fit in the area she was telling Anko to put it. He did what? Anko snickered as Haku, Kin and Temari rounded and glared at Tayuya who smirked and made a kiss-kiss face before leaving to continue her guard duty. Naruto however wasn't as lucky as 3 pairs of eyes focused on him. The feeling of being trapped became stronger as the gathered girls took a step towards him. Naruto looked around in a panic and his prayers were answered. Hey Gaki, wanted Jiraiya entered the room. He was grabbed by the arm as Naruto dragged him out. Yes. Kami, whatever it is. Get me out of here. He dragged his father-like figure from the room. Jiraiya looked at him. What was that about? Let's just say I owe you one and it'll be I keep Kasen off your back while you work on your next book, Naruto said as they walked the corridor. Jiraiya smiled at the pass he'd just gotten. What did you want, Arrow Pop? What? Oh that. You want to listen to the bullshit that the Konoha Council is trying to get Orochi team to agree to? Does Anko like Dango? Naruto asked back with a grin. Council Chambers Konoha. You will surrender Naruto Uzumaki to us or what? Orochimaru asked, quirking an eyebrow as he crossed his arms. You seem to think Otogekure answers to you. I am the Kage of Oto is not recognized as a power in the nations. You have no right to call yourself Kage. A counselor snapped. Do you really want to piss me off more, elders? Oto is not answerable to Konoha. Fine, as the duly appointed leader of Otogekure I deny your request of the transfer of Uzumaki Naruto to your oh-so-scrupulous hands, Orochimaru said with as much sarcasm as he could. You have no Elder, you best not finish that sentence, Orochimaru said. The Sanin legally adopted Naruto, he is ours, and you bunch of old farts can kiss my baby smooth pale ass. I will destroy this village before I hand over my boy to a bunch of traitors who did nothing but try and kill him over the years. He looked at Sarutobi. I am sorry, but due to actions of your council Lord Hokage, I am hereby withdrawing my remaining teams and we are leaving. You can't do that, several voices called out. Why not? Orochimaru asked, crossing his arms and raising an eyebrow. You would condemn Sasuke Uchiha for the sake of the demon? Hamura, one of the Hokage's former teammates, asked. The Uchiha means nothing to me, Orochimaru said. You all seem to forget once again, I am the leader of Otogaker, and not part of Konoha. Because of your lax security measures, 2 of my genin are dead and a third is in critical condition. Of course our plan was to apply the seals and remove the Sharingan from said Uchiha, and destroying Konoha's biggest bullshit Kekai Genkai. Orochimaru, while a prodigy, believed in hard work. The Sharingan was a shortcut, and he'd hated it when he was younger, and as leader of his own hidden village he saw it as a danger, thus the plan to remove it. But now Nadas has it, and he wants Naruto to compete in the finals. That alone is sending danger warnings up my spine. Tsunade's gone mental and Kimimaro has the Sound 5 rotating their shifts between protecting me and protecting Naruto. Orochimaru, Sarutobi said calmly while he lit his pipe. What will it take for you to keep your teams in the Chunin exam? Orochimaru pretended to think it over. He knew Naruto would take part. Despite the knockdown drag-out argument with his mother, Naruto was not giving up. He wants to show them what the son of a Sanin can do. Mentally smiling, he allowed his serpentine eyes to drift over the council of Konoha. Bastards don't deserve to live. I am so tempted to declare war on Konoha just for their stupidity about Naruto. Sigh, but Tsuhaime has said we are to be on our best behavior. You have nothing we of the Hidden Sound want, Orochimaru said finally. Lord Orochimaru, Hayashi Hyuga called. What of an alliance by marriage? The Hyuga clan leader said. Hayashi had spoken with his daughter, who told him of her reaction to the blonde Otonin. To the rest of Konoha and the Hyuga council he seemed to be cold and uncaring about his eldest daughter, but within the walls of his own estate he loved his daughter and talked with her often. The deception they put up for the others that he was an uncaring bastard was for her protection. Between? Orochimaru asked. Yukon had spied on Naruto during the exam and told him how the Hyuga heiress had reacted. And how the other girls reacted to her as well. He thought with a mental smirk. Naruto Uzumaki and my daughter Hinata. It would form an alliance between Oto and Konoha and between the Sanin and the Hyuga. Orochimaru cocked his head. I will need to speak with Naruto and Tsunade. I will not force a marriage upon him, no matter the political reason behind it. And I will not hand any kind of control of Naruto into Konoha's hands. Naruto listened as his adopted uncle spoke to the council of Konoha. Man, they have way too much power for a body that is supposed to advise the Hokage and do his paperwork. The blonde thought. He nearly choked on air as the Hyuga mentioned marriage. What? I'm too young. Naruto mentally rallied, and next to him he could feel Jiraiya shake with his restrained laughter. Shining away, he left the Toad Sanin under the Genjutsu and appeared on the Hokage monument. Jiraiya appeared moments later. What's wrong? Uncle Orochi's going to have to make the marriage, the blonde said. What? Gaki, he's going to think about it, Jiraiya said. Naruto stood atop the image of the fourth Hokage looking out over Konoha. He'll think about it, but I already know that in order to get what he wants for later on, he's going to marry me to the Hyuga girl. Don't get me wrong, she's cute in that mousy type of shy girl way that makes me think she's going to be a wildcat in the bedroom. Naruto smirked at the look on his adopted father figure's face. Pervert, he muttered. And I know he's going to do everything possible in the marriage contract to limit Konoha's contact with me, but it will happen. He smiled. I wonder why the Hyuga leader even suggested it. What do you mean? Jiraiya asked, surprised at this. Uncle Orochi knew there would be a political marriage somewhere down the road. We talked about it before we left Oto. He thought he would have to be the one to bring it up or hint around it. The Hyuga brought it up, meaning there is something he wants. You're getting too good at this, Gaki, Jiraiya said, shaking his head. What do you expect, Aeropop? I've been trained by the legendary 3 since before I could walk. Add in what Antizun teaches me, Kimimaro, and his 4. Jiraiya smirked. Along what your prospective girlfriends teach you. Naruto blushed, then paled. Oh Kami, what am I going to do about them? Gaki, you're thinking like a regular ninja, Jiraiya said with a huge grin. What do you mean? Naruto asked. Jiraiya put an arm over the blonde teen's shoulders and gave him a lecherous grin. I mean, as the last Uzumaki and Namikaze, as well as our child, you fall under clan restoration laws. Hey, you my boy get to have numerous wives, minimum of 4. Naruto closed his eyes. Ka-san's going to kill me. Jiraiya laughed as he started to explain to Naruto his ultimate defense of the chakra shield and how to land after one of Tsunade's thunderous hits. Spill. Tayuya found herself surrounded on 3 sides and her back to the wall. Kin, Haku and Temari were all armed, 2 with Saban needles and the other blonde was holding bladed battle fans closed. Spill what dike? Tayuya said and found a Saban needle buried in the wall a centimeter from her head. The coldness of it told her it was Haku. You think you can kiss Naruto and get away with it? Kin said. You're supposed to protect him, not molest him, Temari said as she snapped open a blade fan and held it inches from the redhead's neck. He's mine. Hell no, he's not, bitch. After the reaction I got while sitting in his lap as we kissed, he's definitely interested in me, and not some bitch that blows, a weak flute player and icicle. You 3 are out of the running and our next date, I'm going to claim him. There won't be a next date, you foul-mouthed whore, Kin snarled. Yeah? And what do you think you and your skinny ass can do to stop it? Unlike you 3, I've actually felt what he's packing, and let me say it's long, it's hard, and with his stamina, it will be a ride of a lifetime. Ice formed on the wall behind her, and she looked to see Haku's eyes white and frost forming in her hair. Temari went into a battle stance. Before anything else could be done, the 4 kunoichi were wrapped in sand and their eyes went to the door where Gaara stood not looking happy. Lady Tsunade and Lord Orochimaru wished to see you 4. I suggest you cool your loins. And why the fuck should we do that, Sandy? Tayuya asked. Because it has to deal with Naruto, and I don't think Lady Tsunade is in the best of moods as she isn't drinking and Shizen isn't in the room. 4 sets of eyes widened. Anko is retrieving Lord Jiraiya and Naruto right now. Whatever this is, it isn't good. Gaara walked away, the sand around them dissolving and following him like a lost puppy. I didn't know he could talk so much, Tayuya said. He usually doesn't. He and Naruto seem to communicate with looks and grunts, Kin admitted. However, it's gotten better. That's the most he's said without Naruto prompting him, Kin said as she slipped her samban away. Temari looked at where her brother had gone before she slipped the battle fans away. We better go. Whatever has Lady Tsunade mad isn't good, and it always centers around Naruto. You're joking, right? Orochimaru looked at Naruto with a raised eyebrow. Of course he's joking, Naruto-kun, Haku said. Kin and the others looked at the Sannin/leader of Odogekure, their gazes telling him he better be joking. It's no joke, Orochimaru began, but he leapt aside as Tsunade's fist took out the wall he'd been leaning against. I told you never. My uncle and grandfather never wanted those laws. They were passed by stupid civilians looking for ways to marry into the clans. Haim, please, Jiraiya began. Don't haim me, you bastard. You know how I feel about that. It's one thing for Naruto to date several girls, but there will be only one fucking wife. And she sure as hell isn't going to be some slip of a girl he's never met other than in passing. Haku, Kin, Temari and Tayuya were sharing looks and similar thoughts. Naruto was looking at Gaara, who Naruto would swear was laughing behind his sand armor, while the sand kept the face impassive. Orochimaru sighed. I swore I would talk with Naruto, I did. He's not doing it. Fuck your agenda, Orochimaru, Tsunade said. Many thought Tayuya had a foul mouth. They were never around Tsunade when she was well and truly pissed off, those that were didn't remember, likely due to the concussion from her finger flick of doom. Haim, I understand, and I wouldn't, Orochimaru was saying, but Tsunade wasn't in the mood to be placated. Damn right you won't. You march your pale skinny ass back there and tell the Hyugas and the rest of those old bastards they can take the Hokage monument, and shove it. Knock. 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 What? The door slipped open and Sakan opened the door. Sorry to interrupt, but there is a small group of Hyugas at the door asking to see Naruto-sama and Lord Orochimaru. Tsunade growled and her eyes locked on Orochimaru. Thank you, Sakan. Put them in the waiting room and have tea prepared, Orochimaru said. The door slid shut. Oh, you are not fucking. Tsunade, Orochimaru said, his voice even. As I said, I am not forcing Naruto to do anything. His serpent-like eyes rested on the blonde. Force no, but put a guilt trip you would, Tsunade looked at her adopted son. Naruto, don't do this out of duty. Your uncle is playing a game, and I for one don't like it. Naruto looked straight ahead, his gaze not meeting any of the girls who all were looking at him as a hawk watches a mouse. I know Uncle Orochi is playing a large-scale game of living shogi. It's his vice, like yours is drinking and gambling and Aeropops is peeping on the women's baths. 6 growls filled the room and Naruto knew Shizen was with the others. Jiraiya's whimper told him he knew he was a dead man walking. However, while the game is in play, we should use every means. I'm not saying I'll agree to this marriage, but… Naruto-kun, no. Haku said first, her hand touching his forearm. Temari, Tayuya, and Kin all put hands on his arm or shoulder. Orochimaru stood. I will go and speak with the Hyugas. He smiled at Tsunade who was on her feet. And you will tell them that Naruto isn't going to marry. First off, he's too young, and secondly, she looked at the 4 girls, he's already got a prospective girlfriend. Naruto looked at the 4 girls who were giving him the look and he shuddered. I'll come with you to disappoint the Hyuga's uncle, he said and was out the door, Jiraiya's laugh chasing after him, which was soon cut off as Jiraiya made a new skylight in the room thanks to a Tsunade-packed punch. Thank you for meeting with us, Lord Orochimaru, Hayashi Hyuga said once Orochimaru was seated across from him and his daughter. Naruto took a seat near his adopted uncle and his eyes on the pale-eyed girl from the exam. I have spoken with my nephew, Orochimaru began, but Hayashi held up a hand. Please, before you deny me this chance to save my daughter, allow me to speak. Orochimaru nodded. He had a feeling that the Hyuga was looking for more than he said in the council chambers. May I speak freely here, Lord Orochimaru? Hayashi asked. You may. Naruto has my confidence, and if a person gets past the sound 5, well, I'm well aware of the amount of damage that could take. The snake Sanin said with a smirk. Hayashi looked at his daughter. I wouldn't force a marriage on my